Oh, you ain't. I can't hear you if you talk.
Yeah. What's up? How you? Welcome to edition of look. You got hot.
What's it? What, what's my?
Wait, say that again, brother.
Yeah, fellas, my bad. How y'all week been, man?
Excelente.
Excelente.
There we go. Yeah, I kept trying to do the mic check before I started. Y'all heard me at one point, then the fucking thing cut out on me, so I got this straight right quick. But yeah, man, it's been a hot week. I hope everybody been staying hydrated. Uh, take them little breaks in between, whatever you're doing to keep yourself cool. Cause I ain't gonna lie, bro, that heat whip my ass, and I ride a bike to work, so it's not that far from the house. But damn it, by the time I get there, boy, I'm sweating bullets. And then going from that heat to the cold, and then back and forth in between, trying to keep cool, man. Fuck around and got sick. But yeah, man. Other than that, man, it's been a good week. Chop, how your week been, bro?
Been real
Been real
good,
good, man.
That's good to hear, man. That's damn sure good
Add
to hear.
that
I'm
go.
glad.
Add that go.
And it goes.
man.
The bus, they gone.
All right. Yeah, y'all. But yeah, bro, got everything straight, man.
Well,
Yeah, my
it's not
All right. Yeah, chop. Yeah, you right. Just talk.
Yeah, that probably was because my echo cancellation was off, bro. My bad.
Oh, I know what it was. Don't push me. I'm just fucking. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Cause
brother.
I'm close to the edge. Nah, bro, listen. All right, so um, I've been kind of like thinking, like
Shoot.
one of the biggest things well, several things that's been happening in the city. I'm not bringing that up to talk about that for in other news. It's just something that I just thought about. My wife told me that Derrick Grove, right? He one of the last few remaining fugitives still at large or whatever. So she sent me like an Instagram clip of
He was either the last one. They got 9 niggas. They didn't got 9 people. Yo, okay.
well, they said it was 11, but he the last one. He one of the most dangerous ones they say. Right? I don't know how true that is. I never heard nothing about the young man being, other than whatever charges he was in jail on from the video that I saw earlier on YouTube about it or whatever like that. But they I think they say the ATF or whatever parish official where his relative lived at went and picked her up and is holding her until they catch him. And my mind is like, why, when she had nothing to do with his escape, you went picked up this man people because he got loose, and then you telling her people, oh, we not gonna give her back till we get him. What that sound like to y'all?
You go first,
Now remember, this
How y'all
not just
doing,
for
people? Yeah,
MLW.
Silent Child 17. This is my name. I'm just giving you a quick introduction if y'all don't know me. Silent Child 17. But yeah, bro, I mean, I didn't even know it was up to that. But in my personal opinion, I wouldn't have broke out of jail. I just did my thing. But if you want me to be the woman in this situation, is that what you asking me?
No. What? All right. So the police picked her up. She had nothing to do with it, right? She had absolutely nothing to do with him getting broke out of jail. They went and picked her up and is telling the family until they catch him, they're gonna hold her. I guess that's like his
She's a suspect of interest. I guess that's what they're doing. So they're gonna abide by everything that they can abide by to keep her, just in case. It's a lot of extra shit right now. So they're doing a lot of extra shit. But me, as you asked me what I would do too, right? In what situation?
I was asking,
if I was the woman or the police. That's what
no,
I was saying.
I was asking y'all thoughts on the police picking her up and holding her until they catch him.
What would you have
I
done?
don't think they could do that though. I don't think
so neither, Chopper.
Because that sounds like kidnapping and extortion. Like, because he broke
Trace in the building.
Yeah, that's
so
me.
I was looking at it like this, like, because she said even one of the people the lady was in the car with was Kim. All of these is Kim Grove's people, right? All of these people is Kim Grove's people. So the lady was saying, like, where is she? Like, y'all just went and picked her up, Y'all telling her children that y'all not giving their mama back until they catch Derek. Okay, but she had nothing to do with Derek. You see what I'm saying? Breaking out of jail. So at this point, now the only reason I see that you would be going to get her is because he's still on the loose, and you feel that he may try to use her as a helping hand in his flee from justice, right? That's understandable. But you could have put a detail out there, or tap the phone, whatever. You ain't gotta go pick her up and stop her from living her life. You see what I'm saying? Because he broke out of jail. That I understand if they would have been doing that. But to pick me up and hold me captive.
We had him, then we lost him.
Alhamdulillah.
Bismillah.
What's going on with you, though? Chop Track in the building. What's happening with you, though, player?
Drinking unsweet tea.
Bro, I just rolled me up something, man, trying to get it right for the right time.
Oh, I hate my
Goddamn
phone.
niggas looking crazy. Nah, it's okay. He probably hates you too.
Yeah.
I know. So this fucking phone work my nerves sometimes. So no, man. So looking at the situation, I would be on the fence of saying that's kidnapping and extortion, because you done picked me up, took me away from my family, you holding me captive, and you telling me you not gonna let me go until you catch somebody, right? So that just sounds like kidnapping and extortion. Like, until you get him, like, come on, man.
Yeah, go get you some money, baby, because that's all people worrying about.
Yeah, they
just man, go sue him.
They ain't got no choice but to get away.
Yeah, just go sue her, right? Because that's all people worrying about, if that girl go get some money. Girl, that's a way to get you some money. Go ahead and sue him.
You know what?
You ain't do nothing.
I wouldn't be.
They ain't concerned about those Samaritans and all that shit. Somebody getting killed and all that. They ain't worried about all that shit. You can tell you wouldn't even be. Never mind. I digress.
I'm just saying that's most likely some shit somebody did say too. Fuck that. That's kidnapping. We gonna sue them bitches. But come on now.
Just people in general minding her business is what I'm saying. Like, just people
Mm,
in general. Like, if you ball these stories up around shit because you believe you know what's going on and don't
that's
have a
it.
clue.
That is true. That is absolutely true. All right. I had that thought pop in my mind. I wanted to ask y'all that because, like I said, my wife sent me that, and I wanted to know. Well, aside from my own personal thoughts on it, as far as the police side, what could have been done better to not infringe on her rights. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to fugitive for justice. 'Cause they got other people that done got locked up behind this shit for harboring fugitives. So it's understandable that you think she may do this. That's understandable. But damn, you could have tapped her phone. You could have put a detail on her to make sure they not having no contact with them. Hey, listen, we know your brother. We know your relative, brother, sister, uncle, cousin, whoever escaped from prison. We're just here to make sure that they're not going to try to use you as a means of justice, right? Even at that, you ain't got to take that lady away from her children, away from her job, her home, like everything that she working to maintain. Y'all done just came up out of nowhere and disrupted that. But I just say there could have been a better way of handling that. That's all. But yeah, man. So P dot on the spot. Surf didn't do the introduction the right way. I wanted to get that thought out of my head right quick. But yeah, tonight's show is gonna be a very interesting one. I don't think we've ever really covered this particular topic before. If we have, it probably came up as a, a means of us
Other
talking about
news and all
something
kind of
else.
other stuff. Yeah.
Right. So tonight's topic is greatest revolts in history. And I didn't mean to put greatest because any revolt against a fucked up system is a great revolt. I didn't mean it that way, but that's what I put. So that's tonight's topic, man. Either one of y'all fellas got anything for in other news?
Nigga
If so,
said nothing.
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Go ahead, tell nigga, go ahead.
Oh man. Yeah, I got one for y'all, bro. In other news, I mean, we have a lot of cases that been happening, and people have speculations about these cases because it's involving police and them willingly shooting black men and things of that nature. They did some investigation in Maryland,
okay.
and they got over 30-something cases where they were supposed to be considered homicide and was called everything else. So here we go, fellas. Once again on Blunt Talk Nola, we have another piece to the puzzle. When we
Okay.
talk about the influence with the police and this corrupt system we call justice. Here we go.
There's been a bombshell audit revealing dozens of cases where people died after police restraint that should have been classified as homicides.
WJZ Investigates has extensively covered the concerns for years and alarm after the testimony of Maryland's former chief medical examiner in the murder trial of Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin.
And WJZ investigator Mike Halligan live in Baltimore with the follow-up tonight. And Mike, the city has more cases under review than anywhere else in the state of Maryland.
That's right, Rick. 22 of the 87 cases that were part of this audit, some used the discredited diagnosis of excited delirium. There were pro-police and racial biases, the audit found, and many families have been telling us about this for years. September 15th, 2018. Police arrested and then tackled 19-year-old Anton Black on his front porch in the small town of Greensboro on the Eastern Shore.
That was really my mom.
The medical examiner called his death accidental, blaming his heart. But from the start, his family told me he died because he was unable to breathe after being pinned by police.
He shouldn't have died like that.
Listen,
And them
his heart.
officers need to pay. I need to make sure that they pay.
Years later, the family settled for $5 million, and as part of that settlement, the state instituted reforms in how the medical examiner reviews cases where people die in police custody.
The autopsy mischaracterized Anton's death as accidental. There was nothing.
Watch the connection. Look how they do it.
An independent panel unanimously found Anton Black's case should have been ruled a homicide. Their finding was the same in the 2013 death of Tyrone West in Northeast Baltimore, homicide.
We need all the cases that David Fowler was involved with to get those killer cops off.
West's sister told anyone who would listen in weekly protests for more than a decade, even spending $50,000 of her own money to exhume his body. Finally, someone did.
They threw my family a flimsy 7-page report and said my brother died from a heart attack and dehydration. And that broke my heart, and I died again that day.
The common thread in all the cases, Dr. David Fowler, Maryland's chief medical examiner from 2003 to 2019. His testimony on behalf of Minneapolis police officer Eric Chauvin, later convicted of murdering George Floyd, kneeling on his neck, drew widespread criticism.
All of his injuries were in areas where the knee was not.
The testimony led the Attorney General at the time, Brian Frosch, to launch the review, as he explained to WJZ Investigates in 2022.
Without Fowler's testimony in the Chauvin trial, would we ever be sitting here talking about this?
We probably wouldn't. I mean, nobody took a look at the cases and said, wow, there's a high number of X or Y.
Maryland's audit found some autopsy findings during Fowler's tenure may have been tainted by racial and law enforcement biases, with this caution from the person who managed it.
The retrospective nature of the audit makes it impossible to know whether racial or pro-police biases truly affected OCME's determinations.
Attorney General Anthony Brown cautions families just because their loved ones' cases are being reviewed does not mean there will be any criminal charges or any findings that officers who applied restraint are liable for these deaths.
What we assured them of is that we will look at these cases to ensure that justice is done.
We're going to look at it, y'all. Let's talk about it. Look at it.
Fowler needs to be in jail. Forget a report. He needs to be in jail.
And we did reach out to Dr. Fowler multiple times via phone and email to get his perspective on this. He did not immediately respond.
You don't want to talk.
We will update you if and when we hear back. We're live in your corner downtown. Mike Helgren, WJZ.
Let's talk about it, fellas. I mean, because there's certain things that we pointed out and pinpointed and said, hey, you know what? This looks suspicious. As a cop, this shit don't look like you're going by protocol.
Not at all.
You know, and this goes off of it, and it kind of stems off of, you know, your situation, which you were just talking about with the jail situation and this lady that they have in custody. Like, what are the procedures and shit? You know, what's going on with that situation? I want your point of view, Chop, if you could hear me.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you think about? I'm gonna give you a detail. I'm gonna give you a detailed question because I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. Right? I'm gonna give you a detailed question. Since we now understand that, and this is just in Maryland, people. This is not even much the whole map, y'all. This just in Maryland, and that's they 30 something up on the cases of them doing this shit. What are the chances there are an actual white militia that lives inside the police force that does this shit annually to abiding citizens? If you believe in that, what are the chances that there is a, did you call my question?
Yeah, I think they definitely do it on purpose because they know they could get away with it. and they've been doing
The
this so
coroner. So
long.
what do you think about the coroner actually being a part of it as well? Because he don't get his hands dirty, right? He just get the right paperwork up. So
He
how does
gotta
that
get.
work in this big thing that they that they getting away with? How important is that?
If the coroner ruled that something that don't look like abuse or malfeasance or whatever or something that's wrong, then fuck, it didn't happen basically.
Yeah, he died of a heart attack and he was dehydrated, but they actually
Right,
whooped his ass. And I
right.
write that on the paper, like, so how much of his involvement adds on to, what you was just saying, basically, like, because he don't get the point. He not beating on him. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't charge him.
I'm not
But look at
beating on you with
his
my
role. Is
physical
his
hand, but
role
I could beat
important?
on you with this piece of paper.
Right.
If you think about it like that, I don't
I
have
mean,
to
that's the
execute these
only
Y'all
way.
people.
That's the only way to think about it.
You see what I'm saying? They did the dirty work, and all I gotta do is write up this paper saying, "Oh yeah, he had a heart attack and he suffered from dehydration." Well,
Is
which
he
is it?
innocent in
You
this?
see what I'm saying? Which is
No.
it? 'Cause
Yeah, but is he
there's
innocent in
only
this?
one
Then that's
true
what I'm trying to.
definite
That's what I'm
cause
trying to
of death.
figure out.
Yeah,
Pete, can you hear? You can hear? You can hear?
yeah.
You good? All right. Because you go over. Is he innocent in this situation? Is he
No,
innocent in this situation? Because he could just say, well, that's what I thought it was. But to me, it
nobody pays
seems
you for
like
your thoughts.
he's a piece of this puzzle that we're looking at when these cops are killing these dudes. It looked like this the person you go to forge the autopsy. You get what I'm saying? Like how you go to a car and when you steal that motherfucker and they got a chop shop. You get what I'm saying? It's important.
Yeah.
It's like this is your job in the link of the organization. This is what you do. This how far I'm thinking that this is going, y'all. Because we gotta go all the way back to that dude, was it Kendrick Johnson?
The one
The
that
dude
got
they
shot
stuffed the
while sitting in the
fucking
car.
no, the one that got killed in that fucking school and they stuffed his fucking body with newspaper.
Oh yeah.
So while back, they caught him. He was left stuck in a fucking mat at the school. They had missing video and everything. The mama went got her own autopsy because the nigga who did the actual autopsy was on this type of time. The nigga in Maryland.
Maryland.
Only difference was this nigga. They actually took all of the dude organs out of him already. He was full of fucking newspaper when the other autopsy man got him. And I didn't say allegedly because this what the fuck happened.
Yep.
So I'm making those type of connections, fellas, when it comes to that. That's all I had for other news.
There's a definite distinction that this is, and like you say, there's a link, and the link is definitely there. There's no possibility that you keep having recurrences of officers killing somebody, and then he died of heart attack and dehydration. You can't die from both. One has to. There's only one definitive thing that can kill you, right? A bullet, strangulation, your heart stopping, dehydration. That's a very hard one to prove, especially if they find that you have water in your stomach. You know what I'm saying? And for people to have to go to the extreme of hiring independent investigators to investigate the investigators, that's just saying that this system is not just broken, right? We passed the point of broken. It's just a complete defunct system of what's the word you were saying? Legions. They all link together. The cops do the killing, the coroner covers it up, and the black people suffer.
Legal.
And go along with it too for clicks and views. Ain't that a bitch?
So, you know, I would damn sure recommend that anybody who dies by the hand of a police officer, especially knowing how these coroners operate, even down here.
Don't trust them, y'all. That's all that mean to me. Chop, that's all. Don't trust them, y'all. Look, stop letting them people tell y'all anything, especially when it come to y'all people. They not playing fair, y'all. Look, that's what this is telling you. That's too many cases. Chop, that's too many cases, Ron. You, the man come in there beat up, Ron. He beat up. He whooped. You don't mention the bruises or nothing. That nigga said he went straight to the heart.
They skipped over all that.
He had a heart attack. No, he ain't even had a heart attack. That nigga said heart failure. He didn't even say heart attack.
He had a heart attack. He had a heart attack.
Dehydrated and shit. Yeah, he ain't had no water in him.
That's crazy.
Oh, okay. Oh, damn. Oh, poor Jimmy. No. Jimmy got set up, and a lot of them need to pay attention to what you're doing. If you're not gonna fuck your organs up, don't put organ donor on your shit now. Don't be no healthy ass nigga putting organ donor on your ID. Yep.
Oh yeah, you're a target.
Don't do it. I'm telling y'all. Yo, don't do it. They selling your shit, Round. I'm telling you, Round. Don't put that shit. And you know, I'm not talking to my dogs. I'm talking to the audience. Y'all, don't put that shit on you. I'm telling you, if you into that health shit and all that, and you working out and you fit, don't do it, Round. I'm telling you, Round. Them people out here ain't fucking playing. They is cutting niggas and taking their shit, Round. It ain't bullshit. That's a big market right now, people. I don't know if y'all understand that, but that's what it is. Shout out to DD504.
Oh my god. Chop, you want to go next? Yeah, you want to go ahead and go next?
Your boy, that was we talking about earlier about your boy. Somebody had did a little research on him. That you got to edit.
We didn't know what was going to happen. Wednesday, Jamar Robinson's family celebrated his birthday. 2 days later, they were in hiding after finding out that the man convicted of his murder had escaped from prison.
Just get all our family members out of the city. We had to get everyone out of the city. Didn't know what way we was going. Where we was going. Crying, devastated.
2 of Robinson's family members spoke with us over the phone. They asked not to be named for their safety.
The news, I see the boys pulling on the door. Like, this prison was just recently built. And you mean to tell me the doors was that easy to pull apart?
Family, I had to know I was going to give y'all the story about the inmate.
So the reason I had brought this up because, you know, it does give another view of, it gives the view of basically the victims. You know, a lot of people not talking about the victims. It's affecting them. I'm not saying that they should be scared that they're gonna come do something or something like that, because I believe they trying to get out, like they escape, so they're not trying to get in most shit or whatever. But how y'all, as a victim, how you think y'all would feel if somebody, you know, was out there, you know, killed your people, or you know you were a witness, and you know, how that would make you feel?
Paranoid, mortified.
I know you would do that. I know you.
But it'll also upset me too. Like, I'd be generally upset. Like, ain't no fucking way.
I definitely would. One of her arguments about the police, the jail being new, is definitely valid. I definitely would, I definitely would say that because y'all just
Built that motherfucker.
yeah, the bitch was millions of dollars. Y'all just did that bitch. So, and I like I said, you don't have to be. Did he say scared? Let's me. Yeah, dog. Because especially if you know,
be real.
Yeah, people basically say like the victim.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
You'd be scared. Yeah,
I'm gonna be sitting
scared,
outside all day. I'm gonna be ready. I ain't gonna lie. That'd be my chance. I'll be using this.
Yeah, it all depends on. I say it all depends on what the situation is. That's how I look at it. It all depends on the situation.
I'll be like, oh yeah. So you mean to tell me I could just wait for him to come here? Oh yeah, that's like that's like what they call it, an N1. That's like an N1. You gonna my people. Now I ain't gotta come look for you. You gonna try to come do me something, and you didn't escape the jail and try to come do me something? Boy, I'm gonna shit out of you. Nigga, what's wrong with you?
What you think about them motherfuckers playing vigilante and shit? Saying that people better not run up on them because them niggas are killers and they gonna shoot them and shit. What y'all think about people giving that advice?
Oh no, I'm gonna tell you straight like this. If I wouldn't tell nobody to run up on them like that. I'm not telling nobody to do that. But if they run up on you, I mean, fuck.
You gotta do what you gotta.
Gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, fuck it. Don't come this way. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all be scared of them boy, man. Y'all man go the other way, bro. Don't be trying to be out there being the Punisher, bro.
Man, fuck all that. I'm not about to be scared.
Nigga don't stand for nothing, y'all. Nigga don't stand for shit.
Man, I'm not about to be scared. Like them dudes ain't did me nothing. I mean, I'm not saying
they ain't did me nothing. There you go, Ron. No, you said that right. You said that right.
They ain't got no reason to be coming trying to do me nothing.
Thank you. The fuck?
Okay, I mean, I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't either, but it be a conversation for some reason that thousands of people be wanting to fucking talk about instead of
everybody
learning that you had revolts.
Y'all just got the right to be able to still carry your guns. You just got that right. What is you talking about?
They must have forgot.
You must have forgot.
Okay. They must have been listening to that Roy Jones and then they had put it to their life.
Not to cut y'all off.
I don't know. They just feel different.
I do want to say this. If y'all remember about what that is, about a year or two ago when we did the coverage of talking about this prison and the fact that our current elected sheriff wanted to raise the taxes, right? So they could have better this, better that in that prison. That prison was just freaking built, right? There ain't no god doggone way that you gonna sit here and tell me for 2+ years or better since that
5.
No, no. Since she got in and she wanted us to pay more taxes.
She was talking before that, player. What her job was before that, before she was sheriff.
I think she was working for PIB, something like that. Office of Public Integrity. Or the BPI or something like Bureau of Public Integrity or something like that. I forgot what she was doing.
I brought that up because you brought up the police force, and remember they was hiring private investigators and stuff. Me and Chop talked about that. I think that was Friday. Said, remember they was hiring other motherfuckers, like he said, bro. Y'all got the money. They voted for it. It's in. What y'all talking about? We don't get it. It's supposed to be up to date, up to par, technical straight. This nigga jiggling the dough. Yakka, 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 yakka. Nigga listening to Yin Yang Twin hitting that bit. Yakka, 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 yakka.
Nah,
And it's
like
gonna come loose. See?
the reason I say that was because the conversation wound up coming up while I was out of town, and I was like,
Gusman too. They try to hit Gusman. We talked about that too, Pete. Not to cut you off.
so I was talking about it. I was like, it don't make sense when that prison was just built. It was already fully staffed. And I get it. When Guzman left, a lot of people left, but that did not mean that prison wasn't able to be ran in its functional capacity like it should have been. So, looking at the scenario,
see, that's the thing. Even though they hire 2 people, that don't mean shit because the old people know how the building work. If that makes sense,
right? They do, right? They do. But that don't mean everybody from the old crew left.
Do this and that, and they know if you leave this like that, it's gonna be like this. They know all that.
Pete, they fucked up. Pete, they know they did. They fucked up
big time. But
they was taking money. Look, they was taking money, and nobody wanted to raise their hand.
Number 3 sword.
I'm telling you, man, ain't no way, bro. This is the only. Think about it. You were taken away from staff. Look, you take it away from the main shit you supposed to have. It's not even much a max prison.
Don't breathe.
No,
did you know that?
Not. No, it's not.
Okay. You ain't supposed to have all them people in there, Pete. Exactly. They ain't got. They not paying. They know somebody was taking money around. I don't know if they're gonna get into it, but the FBI is involved with this shit now.
Of
Since
course
motherfuckers want to be greedy.
When
these niggas been holding ball and they've been following these. Go ahead, Pete. Go ahead.
The feds should have been watching, and I'm not saying that they haven't, but they should have been watching that place when all the videos was coming out showing them dudes in OPP with the drugs, the guns, phones, all that shit. Nah, like come on, man, they putting the shit on fucking Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all sorts of platforms, letting you see this what we got in here. Ain't no fucking way you gonna sit here and tell me y'all don't know nothing about none of that shit and it's happening right in your
isolated incidents. That's what they gonna call it, Pete. Isolated incidents. But see, when you have motherfucker not watching TVs and shit and not having the security that'll do this, and niggas going to get lunch right when niggas escape, and you see, then there's more to question now. P is not just an inmate doing it now. See, they can't even say that shit no more. So look at the corner they backed into as well while we talking about it.
Then, because I saw some of the video y'all had put up. This dude had a 7-hour head start. How the
booking process takes too long. The releasing process takes too long. You'll be released and still sit back there a whole another 3 months.
A whole another 3-4. Yeah, they do that. And
do they?
Or they get.
A lot of them inmates that they had already was supposed to be up the road.
Already sentenced.
Because y'all
ain't got no buses now. Y'all just be. Hey, there, chap. There you go, man. That go to play right there, Pete. Remember, that's the main thing we always talked about with the jails. How much they get paid a prisoner?
Money paid.
It's a minor jail.
Nobody watched Black Mirror, that episode where they was doing it, but basically you had to pay for every fucking thing. Pay for talk on the phone, pay for the bank, that's what it is.
You pay for your snacks, you pay for your phone, you pay for your deodorant. Right. You pay for all that shit. You need a pair of socks, you gotta buy a pair.
For attention. Like they made it literal, yo. They made that saying literal. You pay for attention. Ain't that a bitch? There's some sick motherfuckers. But we some sick shit. They made that shit literal. Like how we say, man, soon they're gonna start charging us for air. They
trying.
found a way to do that too.
Yep.
They sure fuck will charge your ass for it. They gonna put that shit in the bottom.
They'll put
It's
that bitch in.
already,
I'm
they
trying to tell you.
already done
Go
that.
action
They already
for
done
your
that.
older folks. Don't your older folks need their little tank and shit? And okay now. They
It's
charging that nigga
called
for that fucking air, man.
ventilators. It's called oxygen tank.
This motherfucker's sick, bruh. So, just realize the world that we're living in is not the world you want it to be.
Never
I
has
heard that
been.
earlier and I stole it. Sure did. That's something that's bars, man. Listen to me. I'm gonna say it one more time. The world we live in is not the world you want it to be. So when you put yourself in these little scenarios and you're trying to figure out why they doing this, because this is not the world you want it to be. This is the world we live in, and these things you have to accept if you want to live in this fucking world.
And I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. I honestly, like, not only was this an inside job, this was an inside job that could have only came from the highest fucking level. Pardon my French. Pardon my French. Because the dude that was there, that they arrested, that allegedly helped them dudes out, you can't just chisel through that wall with no spoon and think you about to. No, somebody actually cut that whole wall out, and them dudes was able to squeeze through that little bitty that rebar. I'm not no big person, so I know I can squeeze through that rebar. Ain't no way. Some of them dudes was too big to be trying to squeeze through that rebar. So who bent the rebar back, or who cut the rebar out for them dudes to get out that hole? You know what I'm saying? It's something else going on with that. And there ain't no way you gonna tell me nobody noticed this big hole in this wall. Because if that dude, from my understanding and looking at the wall, there ain't no way. If they got cameras on the outside that show the dude coming through the hole, why nobody saw the hole being dug?
Why y'all think they trying to tie up what happened to his grandmother to him escaping? Or why is that even a thing?
It's a better story for the media because they need a trademark for a line when it comes to actually putting all this into book form and all that type of shit. Chop. That's all they pulling for every fucking string they can, and they don't give a fuck who they abuse, especially us when it comes to stories like this. They don't feel like it's their family, so they're not willing to protect them when it comes to this fuck shit, or even get the story straight. It's about just telling it how we want to tell it on some fuck shit, and I can't stand that shit, and I wish them bitches. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that now.
Yeah, we never get the full truth of the story from the news media. We get partial truth, and the rest is made up allegory. That's all you had, Chop? Or you got something else?
No, that was it. That was it.
All right. I got one. It's pretty lengthy. I want y'all to check it out and really look at what this brother said. Oh dang, hold on. I'm sorry. And look at what this brother saying, because these people. Now, before I play it, y'all remember Chop? You were saying that we don't need them, right? As far as the segregation thing, right? We don't need them. We ain't never really need them. We were doing just fine on our own, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I agree with him too. We were speaking on that segregation was a double-edged sword.
Okay, so check this
Integration.
out. Now,
I'm sorry. Integration was a double-edged sword.
So this is something that did not. If it did get news media attention, I didn't hear nothing about this. Not even my people up in Baton Rouge called me and told me nothing like this was going on. Check this out. This some crazy stuff, bro.
Louisiana Senate Bill 235 and Louisiana Senate Bill 25 are segregationist bills trying to attempt to segregate the schools of Baton Rouge. And let me tell you about the segregationist senator, Senator Rick Edmonds, and those involved. So Rick Edmonds has a bill that would create the school district for the city of St. George. St. George broke away and created a new city a few years ago. We have a city that is 56% black, a parish that is 47% black, 47% white, and the rest is divided between Hispanics and Asians. And so the reality is that in a parish, in a city where black people make up the majority or equal to, there has been an attempt by white people to maintain power and control ever since black voters have gotten more power. And now another attempt to take black resources but not want to participate with black people is happening in the Senate. This legislation would create a new school district for the city of St. George. If St. George wants to segregate and create a new city, the city now has a $50 million budget deficit because St. George has created a new city, 70% white city, and now we have a $50 million hole in our budget. Now they want to create a school district that will create a $60 million deficit for us in the money that is paying into the pensions or the healthcare system for retirees. It's a problem that the white citizens who have paid into a system or worked in the system want to take their toys and go home after we built schools. When we talk about all of these projects that exist on that part of town that taxpayers all over this parish, specifically taxpayers in Baton Rouge, have paid for, and now they want to take their toys and go home, you don't get to segregate from the city and then decide that you want to keep your kids in our magnet schools. Because a part of Senate Bill 25, Senate Bill 235 would allow them to allow magnet students from the school districts to go cross school district lines. Now, here's the reality. St. George ain't got no magnet schools that people want to go to. St. George doesn't have any magnet schools that people want to attend. So that would allow the kids that live in the richest part of the parish to still attend Baton Rouge High, which is a magnet school, a top-rated school, Flame, which is a magnet school, a top-rated school, Mayfair Lab, which is a magnet school, a top-rated school, Wham, a magnet school, a top-rated school, Liberty, a magnet school, a top-rated school. You want to send your kids to the cream of the crop and leave those spots that would be going to black children that live in this city to the white kids that live in the part of the segregated parish. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And it really pisses me off that we are in a position where we won't just call segregation in 2025. If you have a group of people that are all white, that create a city that is 70% white to dilute black voting power, and then they want to create a school district, all the people involved in the creation of the school district are white, and then you want to say that for the kids that live there that are majority white, that they get to keep coming to the schools in the city of Baton Rouge. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. If Baton Rouge is so bad, if the school system is so bad, if the city is so bad that you had to go create a whole new city and a whole new school district, then why in the hell do you still want to send your kids to our schools? Segregate all the way. If you want to be a damn segregationist, be a damn segregationist. I am at the point where the disappointment in some of the ways that we logic these things, then this conversation has happened. Our superintendent has put out a letter. And in the letter, he has said that children who are attending elementary school or middle school or high school should be allowed to finish at those schools. Listen, I have friends that live on the other side of town in St. George. And even my friends, I have the same message to them. That you should have done a little more in the last elections because elections have consequences. Them children need to go to the schools in the city that they live in. The same way the children in Baton Rouge could not go to the schools in Zachary. The same way the children in Baton Rouge could not go to the schools in Central. So if you're going to segregate and create your own schools. Now here's the deal. Baton Rouge has gone through this. The city of Baton Rouge has gotten blacker every year. And as it has gotten blacker, whiter parts of this parish, in Louisiana, we have parishes, not counties for people who are watching this that don't live in Louisiana. If you live in the more rural parts of the parish, you have broken away and started your own cities. None of the other cities, Central, when they created their school district, they didn't have to pay legacy costs. Baker, when they created their school district, they didn't have to pay legacy costs. Zachary, when they created their school district, they didn't have to pay legacy costs. But the citizens that live in Baton Rouge that are majority black have had to bear the burden of all of those buildings that we paid for that nobody paid us back for. They got to get new buildings and they didn't have to pay a damn dime back for them. When do we say enough is enough? No más, no more, no more. You cannot continue to take advantage of the citizens of Baton Rouge. And we as Baton Rouge citizens need to be like, what the fuck is this? How are we going to continue to allow people, I'm sorry, this is where it's at. How are we going to continue to allow people to literally bring legislation against our children that we have to go all over the state to get people to mobilize against? When they were trying to criminalize black children, but you want little white kids to be able to go to the best schools in the state. How, Sway? No. If you want to segregate, Senator, if you want to create your own school district, Senator, then take your children to your school district. If you think that everything is so much better over there, then start your own school district and let all your kids go to the school district in the segregated part of town that you created. You want segregation? Have segregation. And if you live on that part of town and you feel like you want to keep your kids there, they have a plan of government that they're going to have to put back before the voters. Every time the plan of government comes, vote it down. They're going to have to put this on the ballot in order to create a school district, statewide and parish-wide. If they put it on the ballot, vote it down. Otherwise, your children should not be in this school district. We should not continue to allow people to take advantage of us, to take our tax dollars and pimp us, because they're playing in our faces at this point. And for you black folks that live in this parish, for you working class white people that live in this community, that is a level of using that we should not allow. That is a level of prostituting us that we should not allow. We should not allow these people who continue. Now we already have a $50 million budget shortfall. So when you talk about young kids in our community needing more resources, having money to pay for the workforce development that allows them to work summer jobs, where's that money gonna come from? Where's that money gonna come from? When we talk about teachers needing a pay raise, you're talking about $60 million that they don't want to pay in legacy costs. Oh, you didn't know that you owed money for the retirement? For the health care? You didn't know you owed these educators no money? You owe 16% of that money. But the senator brought that legislation with no configuration for that. And there are people like me who for years have been saying that we should be against these things because they hurt the collective. But some of y'all so racist that you don't want to listen. Some of y'all so racist and hateful that you'll hurt your own children's education because you have a problem with listening to somebody black tell you something. So even some of you black people think that because I have a bombastic voice when I say some of these things, that means that you shouldn't listen to what I'm saying. The facts are the facts, and because you are pissed off when people are screwing over you, don't be upset with me because I am. Because you won't stand up for your family and your children, don't be upset for me because I will. I'm from North Baton Rouge, born and raised, and I give a damn that the community that I live in gets some of the investment from the tax dollars that we pay into this government. But they continue to put us at a disadvantage by creating new systems for their children while screwing over our children. While screwing over our parents who worked in the school system. And then saying that, now to be clear, they are segregating a way to create a system to give them majority white control over there when they've had majority white control over the Baton Rouge school system since its inception. The school system is 80% black, but the board is majority white. But they're trying to destroy it before they go on to their own. They're trying to take everything they can from it, siphon all of the resources from poor black folks, working class black folks, poor white folks, working class black white folks in this community. And the only way it happens is if you let them. You should be emailing Senator Rick Edmonds. You should be emailing Representative Shinevert. And you should be emailing the Committee of Education in the Senate and the House and letting them know that these are terrible bills and we don't want them. We got to stop playing with the devil. If you want to be a segregationist, we need to stop acting like this is anything other than segregation. If a group of white people get in the room with all white people, create a city that's majority white, how is that not segregation? To break away from a city that's majority black is segregation. And now you want to have segregation and have your kids still go to school with our kids in the magnet schools only. It's not like they want to send their kids to Glen Oaks Middle. We're not talking about the kids that's going to magnet program at Glen Oaks Middle. We're not talking about the kids that's going to Crestworth or the Capitol Middle. We're not talking about those kids because the people who live in St. George, their kids don't go to Capitol Middle. And we keep wondering why we don't have money to take care of things. We don't have money to take care of things because we keep taking care of people who don't want to take care of this school system. We keep taking care of people who don't want to take care of this city. And we need to say, no mas, no more. Enough. At some point, we need to begin to explore all of our options for the city of Baton Rouge, to explore what it looks like to seek out our own.
So I cut it right there because I think everybody get the gist of what I was playing it for. Thoughts real quick. And I'm not talking about just for Baton Rouge now. I'm talking about for the entire thought process on segregation, its ramifications, like looking at how things have turned out in our city with the charter school system or RSD versus having Orleans Parish School Board, which governs not just the Algiers school, the West Bank, schools on the West Bank, schools in East Bank, New Orleans, as well as New Orleans East, which is still New Orleans. But they govern one system that governs the entire city of New Orleans, right? Now we got RSD, we got charter, and we still got Orleans Parish School Board. The thought process on that was kind of numbing when they first came up with the idea, and I get it. Some schools did make great improvement, while a lot of schools fell by the wayside with this charter school versus RSD and Orleans Parish School Board thing. So that made me think, like hearing this made me think about how our city was being run, right? And knowing that I've heard talk of people saying like, well, Algiers wants to be independent of New Orleans. New Orleans East wants to be independent of New Orleans. Like, how can you be independent of something that you were at its inception? Like, Algiers is just a part of New Orleans. New Orleans East is a part of New Orleans. You're not two different, you're not Algiers or New Orleans Annex or whatever like that. You are New Orleanians. Like, it is what it is. You just have the name of the spot of that area that somebody founded in New Orleans, right? Oh well, whoever Algiers was the person that discovered that this place was habitable, so they named it after them. Shit like that. So I just wanted to get y'all thoughts right quick on the act of the segregation and its ramifications with regards to the idea, and what y'all think would be a great way to go about either give me your pros and I'm gonna sum it up. Give me your pros and cons on segregation.
I think it's good. I don't see nothing bad with it. The only thing is, as long as it's fair to where, we don't lose all the resources we have just because they, to give them resources. As long as there's nothing like that going on, and it's like, you just split it the way it's supposed to be split. I'm good.
Okay. Silent, what about you?
Double-edged sword. Yeah, like I tell you, like I said in the beginning before you played it, Ron, integration was a double-edged sword. We went along with something that we probably shouldn't have, and now we're now when they reap the benefits, somebody gotta clean the shit up. So in this segment, once it then come down to them, you know, you're looking for people to do things that they are already trained to do. And this is what it was. It never was about integration with them. Because it didn't come through the people. It came through the lawmakers and the people who are trying to so-called make the decision for certain people who feel like that. So when they made it possible for them, it was about benefits. So when they have a problem with it now, it's still about benefits. So this is, I think, what we have to get in our mind when we go for things like that. When they put stuff to us to tell us that it's in our best interest, we should be more cautious about that and be more protective of, you know, what's ours and how does this shit really go, because sometimes people don't have the best intentions for you, whatever they talking about, and this is what happens. So like I said earlier, integration was a double-edged sword.
I got you. All right. All right. I got one last one. I don't think I'm gonna play that because I think we talked about this already. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and play it because he's saying this because I don't know if we talked much about the what's that thing? God damn it. I'm gonna just play it. It's gonna come to me, y'all. Cause he gonna say the actual word that's gonna come to my mind. I'm gonna play it right quick. It's not long.
Y'all something real quick. One time, I'm gonna tell y'all this, and it's a common sense thing. The so-called Negro, the so-called black man and black woman, the so-called colored folk can never be deported to anywhere else on the planet. Do you understand why? Don't listen to Dr. Such and Such. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Start with a U. Don't listen to him when he said they just want us to suffer. Yeah, they do. But it's for usurpation. It's to steal our birthrights. We're the only people here in America that can't be deported nowhere else. That's because we're home. And when you're home, that means that you are what the land is. You're American. You didn't come from anywhere else. You're not an immigrant like the rest of the population here. Don't believe these people when they tell you you're from Africa. If you want to go back there, yes, we can technically maybe call this place some extreme West Africa before the great earthquake, before Turtle Island broke apart. But before then, we're home, and you know what that makes us. We ain't no $5 Indians. American is our birthright. When your grandmothers and your grandfathers told you that you got Cherokee in your blood, you got Wichita in your blood, you got Choctaw in your blood, you got Blackfeet in your blood, you should know that they are telling the truth. Don't let these people tell you any lies. We are like what they said in their Bible that they gave us. We've been called 99 different names.
But a bitch ain't one.
We are all 99 of them, other than those derogatory statements and names. But peace, y'all. Just had to drop that knowledge on y'all. For all y'all that was born in America, that's indigenous to America, it's your birthright. Hey, y'all.
Hey, man. Shout out to the Moorish Americans, man, because they do have debate about that as well, you know, when it comes to that. But they are some of the only people who are actually bringing that up and actually, you know, bringing forth the discussion. So I love it.
So that because I remember us talking about the birthright thing, and I kind of felt like it was something
We
when I
need more to
started.
talk about it, but I get you.
Like I remember us, you know, having that discussion about the birthright thing, and I
We
remember
had whole
then,
breakdowns and builds, and we did whole breakdowns. P like, yeah, we
right.
really got into that heavy. Like, I think you're being modest right now. But go ahead, do your thing.
Well, the reason for that is because now they're talking about this birthright thing with Trump in office, right? And
Of course they are.
I just I for the life of me I couldn't figure out why people keep getting caught up in that, knowing you can't be deported from somewhere where you were already at. Like, how can you
If
feel
Trump
like
in your sentence, you're not paying attention to what the fuck going on in the world right now. That's what I believe.
because, bro, when they was like, yeah, Trump said you could be deported. You
See,
know,
you heard you just say, look. No,
bro,
no, no, no.
look.
Let's stop. No, we gotta realize what we be doing. The people gotta realize what they be doing. What you just did. No,
When I
Trump
see,
say. See, you see,
I
that's the
said when
first sentence.
listen,
You see how that's a
I
start off.
said people were
Now, I ain't
saying,
saying you doing no, hold on. No, I'm not attacking you, Pete. I'm telling you that this is the modern thing that people does when they have a conversation or do. I'm going to say, this is the first thing they say, not you. I'm not attacking you when I'm saying that.
oh,
If you think that,
okay.
what I'm saying is, yeah, I know you not. Yeah, no, that's what I'm glad I was able to clear that up because this is the basis of the conversation, Pete. Right, and it's not just the person that you're listening to, right? This is people every day I hear telling me the same shit about the shit. They come from different, but look, they all saying the same shit. You know what that is, Pete? Think about it, bro. Somebody first sentence is what Trump say, or this is what Trump doing. You see what I'm like? What is that? What do you call that in the word in the world of language and shit, right? Like if you're gonna break shit down. Like what do you what is that? Isn't that leading a conversation?
Yes,
isn't that leading into isn't it
that's definitely like that is definitely
I gotta believe what you said that Trump said this, right? I gotta believe in this moment I have to believe that Trump actually said this if I don't know already. So people don't realize that
even if
they
I
do
did
tactics
know,
in that way and realize. But go ahead.
even in like that's the big thing with me right now, like, cause I'm trying to figure out like why the fuck do y'all keep believing that shit? Like it's just there just to stir up more confusion.
They ain't got American
like, so nobody really was paying attention to the fact that the Saudi prince just gave this nigga a $400 million jet to secure a deal with the United States and another motherfucking country over there. So nobody wants to talk about that part though. But we want to talk about
hey,
birthright.
bro, but Pete, guess what? They ain't our business neither. That's what I'm saying.
That
you feel me?
Right.
They worrying about what he do with his jet that somebody gave him.
As a
like
gift.
Them pastors, like they ain't been giving tithes all these years, and these pastors is going jet to jet from state to state.
It's a bunch of presidents that got gifts, nigga. Like that's why I said like
gifts and more gifts.
Gifts Trump. He ain't supposed to get all the privileges of a.
What's the
That's too crazy.
And when that be the jump point, I try to tune people down as much as possible when they do that. Cause you know why, P? Because there was a president before him, though. They just skipped all over Joe Biden's whole presidency.
Like that
shit is
nigga wasn't
crazy,
fucking up the
bro.
country.
That is, bro. But that what I'm saying. No. Listen to what I'm saying, P. This is like put it in perspective, right quick, right? Remember when Joe Biden was president, correct?
You
remember this, right? Who were they talking about though when he was president? Who were they talking about when he was president? Who you
Nobody.
heard that they was talking about when he was? Well, I heard Trump. I heard Trump. I heard about what Trump did. This is why this is. He coming to clean up. I heard Trump. What president you heard about when Joe Biden was president? I heard about Trump. I'm sorry if I didn't say that question right for you, but I wasn't trying to do you. I wasn't trying to do you like they do us. I was actually trying to lead you into this.
On the real, huh, bro?
I was leading you into it, but you said you ain't hear nothing about nobody. So, I don't know. You did hear about the Ukraine shit though, right? When he gave money to Ukraine and all that type of shit. Okay, so my thing is this, right? My thing is this. Now Trump is back president. Why we're not talking about what happened with Joe Biden?
Nah, we got to talk about Trump till Trump do something.
If we're talking about past presidents,
right?
See, there you go. There you go, Pete. There it is. I can't talk to people like that. See, I can't talk to people. I can't talk to people who think like that.
And
I can't rationalize with them if that's what if that's what they believe. If you're not gonna hold everybody accountable, I can't have a solid conversation with you and just be like, okay, I see what you're saying. I'm not gonna never do that, Peter. I don't give a fuck how proper or whatever respect you think you deserve for being wrong. You're wrong. And people need to stop that shit. And this is why we lost our birthright. To get back on subject. This is why we don't know who the fuck we is, when we is, and how we is, and where we is to this day. And we home. How you lost in your own home. Shout out to UBTV.
Motherfucker got amnesia.
See, and no, answer that shit. Since you know what everybody like to say and shit. What would they say to that? Nothing. Damn. See? They don't, because those kind of conversations they don't want to have, but they want to first come out with the first sentence saying Trump. That's all my point was. I don't hear about no fucking Trump if I'm lost at home. The fuck?
Hell, he a visitor, and he know more about what's going on in my house than I do.
Motherfucker. Now how you feel? And you a husband. How you feel? Somebody know more about your house than you. On the real, huh?
That shit a fuck.
Yeah, I know.
If that shit don't start waking people up to start realizing, bro, and like your boss said in my last little video before we move on, black voters have more power now. What the fuck are we still doing? How much more time we gonna waste?
Why we still playing the same game? There you go, P. Thank you. Why we still playing the same game? Okay.
We still looking at videos of motherfuckers talking about what he gave me HIV. You shouldn't have been sleeping with it.
Man,
kept your damn legs closed. Wear condom.
Reality shows did killed a lot of brain cells. It did.
Did it, man?
All that shit. Everybody caught that shit too. Whites and black. Whites just don't admit it.
Man, these people slowly losing their marbles with the foolishness. But I digress, y'all. I want to go ahead and get us ready to roll into the next segment. That was a great end of the news. I appreciate y'all fellas for that. That was great. Now time to get started with the main portion of the show. The great revolts in history. Or as I originally titled it, greatest revolts in history. So if y'all wouldn't mind, I'm gonna go ahead and start. Y'all, well, matter of fact, y'all got any videos y'all want to present that might be shorter than mine? Because mine are gonna be kind of lengthy. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I said that when you picked this as a topic, no whole conversation about the revolt. Like if all three of us gonna do 3 different revolts, it's shit gonna be long as hell.
I mean,
yeah. So if you got more than one revolt, P, that's unfair.
No, it's just one revolt. It's just the video is kind of lengthy.
I mean, if you know your plot points and you good, you should be straight, right?
No.
Motherfucker. All right, P. But you gotta make some time for us, brother. I mean,
breakdown on the plot point from it. I do want to kind of talk about it.
Let's see.
Let's see what's up, bro.
Wait, I ain't hear that last part.
She.
Let me just go ahead and play it, bro, so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Cause I never heard about. Well, of course, I'm not a big on history like I should be, but this one here is one that I had never really heard of happening here in the U.S. So check this one out.
Planters wanted to prevent enslaved people from learning to read and write for a range of different reasons. In this case, Jemmy and his compatriots' proud display of their Liberty Banner, as well as their knowledge of the Spanish policy,
wrong one. My bad, y'all. That was the wrong one. That was the last video. My bad. I played the last one first. Here it is.
Clint Smith, and this is Crash Course Black American History. As we mentioned before, enslaved people resisted their condition in a range of different ways. Oftentimes, those ways were small and personal, slowing down the pace of work, pretending to be sick, purposefully misplacing your tools, things that might slow down the efficiency of the system and give back to the enslaved some small sense of agency. There were also times when that resistance took on larger, more dramatic forms, like with slave uprisings and rebellions. We should note that notions of what constitute as a successful versus an unsuccessful rebellion are often subjective, unhelpful, gendered, and can really obfuscate the significance of the fact that such a rebellion took place at all. Still, some of these uprisings have taken on notable historical significance. And today, we're going to talk about one of those, and that's the Stono Rebellion. Large plantations where black people outnumbered the white people who enslaved them were not at all uncommon to slavery in the Americas. This was especially true in South Carolina, where the colony was built on the demands of cash crop production. Raising cash crops like tobacco and rice gave rise to plantations that were designed to grow as much of that valuable crop as possible. And what those plantations needed, more than anything, was labor. The heavy reliance on slavery in the Southern colonial economy resulted in a vast expansion of the practice. In South Carolina, the high demand for enslaved labor led to a black majority in the colony. And by the year 1740, slavery in the colonies was no longer characterized only by African captives, but had grown to include black people who were born on American soil. The population of black people in South Carolina had risen to approximately 40,000 compared to 20,000 white people, making black people about 2/3 of the colony's entire population. Moreover, ships were still bringing large numbers of African captives into South Carolina, adding to the growing enslaved population there. And as demographics of the colony continued to change, white planters began to worry about being so outnumbered and about the potential of violent resistance. But instead of,
it was already there.
Deciding that slavery was an unethical and morally unsustainable enterprise, they just decided to fight potential fire with fire. In response to the growing numbers of enslaved black people in the colony, in August of 1739, South Carolina passed the Security Act, requiring all white men to carry firearms to church each Sunday. Before this act, it wasn't customary for white men in South Carolina to take their weapons to church. And also on Sundays, black people regularly worked unsupervised. But these planters wanted to be ready at a moment's notice, anywhere they went, to protect themselves from the enslaved people who they were worried might turn on them. But notably, this act was passed before the Stono Rebellion took place, and it wouldn't go into effect for another few weeks. The Stono Rebellion took place in that interim period. Also heightening the generalized sense of white fear in South Carolina was the Spanish threat brewing in nearby Spanish-controlled Florida. And although they also practiced slavery, the Spanish were intent on disrupting colonial life in the English territory. So, the Spanish further disrupted the racial dynamics in the English colony by issuing a proclamation that, with only a few stipulations, including converting to Catholicism, Spain would grant freedom to any black person who could make it to St. Augustine, Florida. Many captives coming to Charlestown, which is present-day Charleston, came from areas in West Central Africa where the Portuguese had spread their language and religious beliefs. And many of them would have been aware of the 1733 offer. A growing black population, including some African natives not yet fully accustomed to plantation culture, in combination with the Spanish offer, created the perfect storm for the Stono Rebellion to take place.
All right, what y'all got for me?
Stono Rebellion. You give me a quick breakdown of what you heard, bro, right quick, so I could base it off of what you feeling about it.
Like, even though this was not one of the greatest, it was one of the ones that set the marker, right? And knowing that this man to understand the Spanish language and its writing gave him the inkling to be able to do what he did, as far as, okay, I know these guys like to go to church on Sunday, so we could plan this on a Sunday right before this law get passed. I don't know how he, I don't know if he knew American language or, well, not American, but I don't know if he knew how to read or write in English, but just him knowing enough in Spanish was enough to say, this might be our chance at freedom, even though they might have been getting led into the burning building, like we were talking about with Martin Luther King. I think I led my people in the burning building, but it was a chance that they could take at freedom and have a better chance of living. You know what I'm saying? So the very early onset of this was him knowing that Spanish and being able to read that shit and understand it and be able to communicate that with the people he was working with, as far as being enslaved with, because if you can't read or write, and that's just like with that movie Jones Plantation, when your boy had them slave papers or whatever, and the nigga drew him a map, led him right into an ambush, These types of things are things that I was thinking about when I first started listening to it. Like, dang, like, all right, he on the right track. He got a good plan. They done went and stole some weapons. They about to go get. My whole mindset is, if I had a way to raid a warehouse and get weapons, I'm gonna kill the people who run the plantation. And then once we get rid of them motherfuckers, we can move on to the next plantation and free the slaves over there before word get out that we done even did such a thing, and free up as many slaves as possible. Right? That would have been my line of thinking, but they took a different route. And I don't know, if what the logic behind that was, but the route that they took, marching down the street with the Liberty sign, like, yeah, you got guns and weapons, so it's gonna be a little gun battle or whatever, but you just stood better chance of taking out the slave owners that ran the plantation where you was at first, and then all the slaves go get some weapons and then move on and fight for your liberty that way. You feel me? Wait, what'd you say, Chop?
So it didn't work?
It worked up until a certain point. It brought more awareness to what was going on and how things was happening, if I could say that, because I don't want to give away too much of the rest of the videos that I got. But it did bring awareness up, I'll say that much. And other things happened at the same time. So that's the end of that first one. Let me get to the second one right quick. Silent, you got anything to say while I'm getting the other one lined up, brother?
Nah, I'm good. I was just Picking your brain on that one just to see where you was at with it. Sometimes my perspectives go, somewhere else because I have been trying to teach that to you for a little minute. So it's a lot of stuff that.
Okay. I think my videos got out of order, but I think this was the next
Black
one.
man is a native in his own land. He's indigenous to this soil. He's the inhabitant of the country. The original American. No.
Alright. Let me
Chimeri of the islands. Yidi. Turtle Island. You feel me?
Alright.
You got all kind of names. AKA, I'm just talking while you get ready for whatever you doing, play.
Of slavery.
I'm floating like a boat.
Enslaved people from learning to read and write for a range of different reasons. In this case, Jemmy and his compatriots' proud display of their Liberty Banner, as well as their knowledge of the Spanish policy, proved that there were dangerous consequences for white planters who allowed their laborers to become literate. This idea would remain relevant more than 100 years later. In his 1845 memoir, Frederick Douglass, the formerly enslaved writer, orator, and abolitionist, quoted his own enslaver on the subject of literacy and enslaved people. If you teach him how to read, there will be no keeping him. It would forever unfit him to be a slave. He would at once become unmanageable and of no value to his master. This was an existential fear for the planters, who feared that literacy would allow enslaved people to recognize words, written clues, and directions that could help them develop plans to escape. They even worried that the enslaved might forge freedom papers, which were official documents that free black people needed to prove their free status, as they could be stopped and questioned by suspecting whites at any time. White enslavers also enforced illiteracy to ensure that enslaved people couldn't form their own interpretations of biblical texts, because many whites used the idea of evangelism and bringing Christianity to enslaved people as justification for their enslavement. Many laborers were required to attend church services and listen to sermons that interpreted scripture to mean that God intended for Africans to be enslaved to Europeans, and that obedience to one's enslaver was necessary for them to get into heaven. So the thinking was, if enslaved people, 1845 memoir.
All right, what you were saying, Silent?
My bad, brother. African narratives. I disagree with that right there. Chop, you want to say anything on that when he said about the African, all that coming from the African, this is why they kept the language from them, and this is why they couldn't learn how to read and shit. Because I disagree with that part, and the reason why I disagree with that part is because it wasn't from Africa. It got people from different areas. Some of them spoke Spanish. Some of them spoke whatever the fuck. That's why I said, what was you speaking here in America at the time where you would consider black people not to know how to read at the demographic that y'all saying niggas didn't know how to read? But you got niggas like Frederick Douglass and other niggas that was going to college and shit at this time.
Right.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Let's not forget the timeline. My bad, not just you, Chop. You already know. I'm asking Peter too. Like it's weird. That should have triggered you, though. And to be honest with you, that should have triggered you. But go ahead, Chop. Just give me a little something. What you think about that? Am I tripping or is
the one that
1865?
It's actually what I was going to use, but we ain't have no discussion about what people was talking about.
Exactly. I'm rocking with you, though.
I didn't want to use it because they kept saying African and shit. Like it kept on. It's just a lot. Like it's a lot of misinformation. Like for the slave narrative or the African narrative to be true, we gotta be that put us in a different. You can't see W.B. Du Bois and all these other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is we talking about? None of them people was able to read, or they just the only ones that let read and stuff like that. How you can go to jobs and filling out your paperwork if you couldn't read? Like, they were just hiring you, and at the end of the day, you just to get some money. They ain't know your name. You wasn't paying income tax. I mean,
it sounds like a lot of BS, right? Because
no, it don't. It don't sound like BS, P. It don't.
Well, no, I'm not.
It sounds like confusion, brother. No, I want to clear that because I don't think it's bullshit. I think it's confusion. They're blending the timeline, bro, and they don't want you to pay attention to the timeline. Just follow the dates. When was slavery over, P. Dad? I'm just asking. When was slavery over? I'm not picking on you nothing. I'm just asking you. When do you believe, or when do you think slavery was over?
I knew from my knowledge, 1866.
And they had a nigga named Frederick Douglass reading, and he was born in 1817.
Self-taught reading at that. How does anybody self-teach something that they don't?
Because they follow the motherfucker who's talking the same language that everybody else talking. Just like how a baby learns Spanish, even if there was a nigga.
Exactly. You learn by here.
Common fucking sense. See how easy that is, people, when you think about it. So how all this shit go? Go ahead, my man.
You hear it, and you hear it enough. You speak it. That's like if a baby was born in a bilingual household. I'm American. My wife may be Filipino, and she speaks Filipino, and I speak Filipino, but I also speak American. They're going to be able to interpret both languages because they were brought up hearing both languages. They were brought up knowing what these words mean in each language. Now, written, they would have to be taught, right? But once I write the word that I just said in Filipino in American, and I could write it both ways, the Filipino word and the American word. These two words mean the same thing. Them children
you get what I'm saying?
So that's the thing that always, like, when it came to the Frederick Douglass thing,
it ain't even Fred Doug though, P. It's just how they using it in the context what they're trying to say, right? But you keep saying African, but you got niggas right here reading at the same time. All these Africans supposed to be coming off the boats and shit. It's misinformation.
Supposed Africans, because millions. We done broke it down that hell. They lied about
Let's
that.
Go back to the books. Yes.
Right. Ain't no way.
It's the almanac. People, if y'all don't know, I know we're in the digital world, but there's still a such thing called the almanac. You can go look up and research stuff just like this, y'all. Y'all know y'all could go do that, huh? You could go do that.
Especially the farmer's almanac. That's like
they got encyclopedias. They got all that shit. Look. You could go find out if a nigga lying. Ain't nobody got no time for this shit, man. You want to believe the story. That's your problem.
Some conversations with some people about that.
They want to believe that shit.
Man. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they want to believe
in a cult. Yeah, in a cult, bitch. Nah. Thank you, Father. Yeah, in the cult.
They want to believe it because...
Nah, I was supposed to say that, child. You're in the cult.
Think about it, like, because that's just like when I was searching this shit to do this. The one he talking about is the one I was going to talk about, but I did see some other stuff. And the other stuff I seen,
just in case I didn't know what y'all was talking about.
I was like, man, ain't no goddamn way. They showing people like the Gullah Wars or whatever. A lot of people don't know that was black on black wars. Like, they don't look up those type of wars. Because you look up the wars where it's the
black versus the other people and shit. But if you look that up, though, it was a lot of fights that happened, but it happened too because, like I'm saying, everybody ain't fucking African, dog. Everybody, people
Even
was
the
not
American
slaves.
Indian was. Yep,
Come
even
on,
that, bro.
son.
They don't. They look at the even the American Indian was. They look at that different. They give that to foreigners. So man,
Which
crazy,
that
I
man.
one
don't,
there.
I don't argue with people. I give them the information,
Exactly. I
dog,
can't.
and you either just go, you either
Either
believe it or
you
or not.
research.
But
No,
I'm
either
not
you
about to.
research it or
Especially
you
when you
don't.
start your sentence
It's
off
not
with
up to
Trump.
you to believe me.
I'm
You know,
Chop,
definitely gonna give
especially
you
when
your
you
read.
start your sentence off with
I'm
Trump.
not listening to nobody that I know ain't reading. Because if you still telling me that black people came from Africa, then you obviously not doing no research. It's obvious. All
They've
of
been
them. It's for you to
debunking
be saying
themselves. Yeah, bro.
all
Like
of
every
them.
black man and
archaeologists,
woman in America
scientists, these
came from
people have
Africa.
been
I
coming
No, the
out
ask
fuck they
and
niggas
telling
didn't.
that,
y'all.
dog. I ask niggas that.
Okay.
I say, dog, what if I say so why the people that was out there, why they ain't come get their people? Like, yo, why your great great grandpa or your fucking
Why your
whatever
tribe?
ain't
Why
why
your
your
tribe
tribe
didn't
ain't
come
come
get
get you once
you?
slavery was over with, so you could go back home.
Oh, you mother so God. We kept your wife and we
You
don't
just
worry
gonna
about it
believe
anymore.
that they was that poor?
You are
They was
Yankee. You are
they was that
American.
poor. They ain't had no money. They
Oh
couldn't build
no.
a boat or ship.
No. No tribe. No tribe come get you. No.
How many
You're
years they
American.
say it was? 400 years. 400 years. You ain't get enough bread in 400 years.
And you would
You
think
are
that
American.
even during that, like even during the time of slavery, if you telling me they were still bringing slaves over here by the million, ain't no way you couldn't have ran across somebody that
If
spoke
they
the
brought
same
as
language
many
from the
of them
tribe
as
you was
they
from.
said they brought,
You see what I'm saying?
ain't no way the numbers close. Ain't no way it's more of them here than us,
The
right?
the numbers never added.
Damn.
The timeline never
Damn,
added
chap.
up.
That's right. Cause look, remember, Pete, in your segment right here, them people just told you that we was 2/3.
Of
Remember?
the population,
Oh shit.
which means
So now how what
which
Chop
means we
said
still
don't make
outnumber
no
all
goddamn
of the people
sense
here.
if he say it again. Oh man. See, nobody don't be listening.
That's all
Nobody
I'm
don't
saying.
be really
Make it make
listening.
sense.
Not you, Pete. I'm just speaking to the audience. People gotta pay attention, man. A lot of this shit be right there, y'all. It be what they say up under your nose. Huh? You can smell it. You
Man, they got you fighting. They got you fighting for something that's impossible. In a
Because the
sense,
truth of the
damn
matter is,
they want you to
bars.
try to.
Ooh,
They want you to try
that's
to
that papoose
save.
shit you just
They
said right
want you
there,
to
boy.
try to save every fucking body instead of just trying to save your family. So you could get
Preserve,
everybody
chap.
in the
The word is
world.
preserve. Preserve.
Man, boy,
Preserve.
ain't no fucking
Preserve.
way in the world,
We trying
boy.
to preserve who because that's what white folks say. They preserve. As far as what they call, and that's another thing. Shot me and him talked about that earlier, Peter. What is white folk? Because we have a misnomer, obviously, about who is actually white and who is not.
Oh shit.
Because they got pale skin. I thought all pale skin was considered white.
It's
Do you
not.
remember the same, or you don't remember nothing like you did with the president? What you say, Pete?
I never looked at all, and I guess that's why
I'm
I have
not
a hard
saying you.
time.
See, here we go.
No.
Ready
Listen,
go?
listen. I never
Straight up. Answer the
really
question.
looked at
What you
all white
remember?
people as like the same. Like if I hear the word pale skin, I think of them red hair people that need sunlight
It's
that
not
just
about
never get
you.
a tan.
But Pete, I didn't ask you about you. That's what I'm saying. You determined from the question.
All
What do
white
you
people are not the
remember
same.
about what was considered white people when when you was younger? What you know for white people being? Did you know the difference? Like you could spot out who wasn't a white person and who was, knowing that they had same pale skin.
Oh no.
Hello?
No, I couldn't.
Just be honest, bro. I'm just.
No, I
That's
couldn't.
all. Just thank you. That's.
Yeah.
You couldn't. And to this day, we can't. Unless
Right.
they tell us, unless we pick up on certain things that we might feel is something different. That's the same thing I'm trying to get niggas to understand with this shit. Don't try to deteriorate who you are as a person just because these people tell you that they know who they are, P. You see what I'm saying, bro?
And they still don't
And
know
they
who they really are.
don't. Holy shit, just like
They
you.
do.
Because guess what? It's about white and black now. Remember, you can't even call a Asian man a yellow man no more, but they got a color for him. An Indian man, you can't call him red no more, even though that's us, and red is swart, and them and this and that is this, right? But all that's offensive to these people now, y'all. Oh, that's offensive now. Yellow man, what you mean? That's racist. So why we still calling ourselves black and they ass calling themselves white?
Exactly.
If it's offensive, why we kept it? What happened? What was the main motive of keeping the white and the black, and what's really behind that agenda, fellas?
Easy, so
That'd
they
be
can
a great
slide
show.
their ass in. I mean, that's what I
Go
see.
ahead, chat, talk your shit.
That's it. That's all it. So they could merge their way in and say anything.
Yep.
Ooh, see how simple that was, but it made so much sense, huh, Peter? That nigga said so they could say anything, and he mean that shit too. I'm talking about anything. Don't try to make up your own little beliefs. Anything.
Nope. This is what it is. This is what it is because this is what I say it is.
Whatever. Up Satanic Club, right?
Anything.
Beauty pageants for little girl. Anything.
Where that
Jennifer
shit
get
come
over.
from?
Where it come from? Alistair Crowley. Man, you all come on, man. I've been trying to put your game. You don't be listening to your little dog, though. Choppy, you know what I'm saying? Choppy like, yeah, nigga, I seen that shit. At least he tell me that on some shit. Like, P, I've been told you this, that Alistair Crowley teacher. You ain't see Jay-Z with the t-shirt on? He meant business. I'm sorry, it was a hoodie.
Thing, brother.
What it said? What it said on the hoodie, Chop?
Nah.
What that hoodie said? Do what thou will.
Talk about.
Do what you wanna. Hang on the corner.
And guess what? As soon as you said that, that's what my mind went to. Right to that fucking song.
It's supposed to. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you, right, what's going on. You don't believe the satanic because what it does to the soul, right? It's a feel-good song, huh? But that motherfucker telling you do what you want. When we know we live with psychopaths and shit, B. This is not the world you want it to be. This is the world we live in, and you have to accept it. I'm trying to tell you.
This world is a fucked up place, and all you gotta do is find a way to
and
make
you've been
it
lied to a lot. You heard me, though? You've been lied to a lot, bro. All kind of shit.
Right. That's part of the problem.
Some of it was for no reason, just to do it.
They fell for the fucking okie doke. Thought they was gonna tell you the truth. You know how many people would be shocked that them bitches even lied to?
Yep.
Like, oh, you're the government? You could actually lie to me? Yes. You think I take it as the truth?
What you think? Look, I could just hear somebody asking that question, and then that motherfucker here, yeah. What you think I've been doing all this fucking time? I'm lying to you now.
Thank you. There it is.
Well, let me go ahead and finish this one off. I gotta put it back to where it was. There we go.
That could help them develop plans to escape. They even worried that the enslaved might forge freedom papers. which were official documents that free black people needed to prove their free status, as they could be stopped and questioned by suspecting whites at any time. White enslavers also enforced illiteracy to ensure that enslaved people couldn't form their own interpretations of biblical texts, because many whites used the idea of evangelism and bringing Christianity to enslaved people as justification for their enslavement. Many laborers were required to attend church services and listen to sermons that interpreted scripture to mean that God intended
You mean like
for Africans to be
tele-evangelistic
enslaved to
churches
Europeans,
that
and
make money
obedience to one's
and
enslaver
prosperity?
was
Oh,
I always wondered where that word.
don't stop it no more if you're gonna keep it that long too, P. My bad, bro. I ain't mean to keep talking over your shit though. That's my fault.
Alright. The word evangelist. I always looked at that word like saying evil angel. I just wanted to say that right quick.
Necessary for them to get into heaven. So the thinking was, if enslaved people learn how to read and write, they might come to understand that these preachings that they had heard from their enslavers were actually being manipulated to serve their own ideological ends. And to put the cherry on top, schools were established in South Carolina to indoctrinate enslaved people with this ideologically infused interpretation of Christianity. These schools taught black people to believe that the institution of slavery was ordained by God and should not be challenged. This message was disseminated in hopes of discouraging any further violent rebellion. Authorities in South Carolina also created new policies that they hope might shift the demographics of the state. According to historian Peter Wood, after the Stono Rebellion, slave importations were cut by nearly 90% during the 1740s, and policies were put in place to encourage immigration from Europe, with the goal of increasing the white population in the colony. There were also some half-hearted attempts to improve, if you can even call it that, the treatment of enslaved people. Planters could be penalized for especially cruel punishment and for imposing excessive work. Legislators hoped that the improved conditions might reduce the chances of another rebellion. But the phrases cruel punishment,
cartoons,
and excessive work should be
I watch Bugs
understood in
Bunny too,
context.
Peter.
Treating enslaved people with less cruelty, but continuing to keep them enslaved, isn't really an act of benevolence. Therefore, we should be careful to note that these stipulations did not make slavery more humane in South Carolina. Slavery is still slavery. The record of the Stono Rebellion highlights the courage and bravery of enslaved black people who were willing to go to extreme lengths to gain their freedom. And I guess when you put it that way, it's not so different from the stories we've long been told of Americans who were willing to sacrifice their lives for the prospect of liberty. Those who led and participated in the Stono Rebellion were not the first to rebel violently against slavery in the colonies.
That's right.
And would certainly
Sure
not
was.
be the last. And remember,
It was going down.
trying to determine whether a rebellion was successful or not kind of misses the point. The Stono Rebellion isn't important because of its relative success or failure. It's important because it is emblematic of a resistance that will echo throughout the history of slavery. I hope you'll keep this in mind.
Nigga sold us out. So good. Nigga sold us out. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Stono Rebellion, man. That's what's up. Stono Rebellion. I'm sorry. Stono Rebellion.
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed that they said was getting people to come from other countries to improve the white power structure, right? Or to maintain it. That's something we just witnessed happen with the last presidency if nobody really thought about it. You allowed Ukrainians to come here by the, I guess we could say by the thousands, damn near into the millions, Hispanics.
Yeah, remember they were taking in immigrants as well, too, and was
Right.
giving them free. Yeah.
Free everything, right? Not to mention, again, the opportunity
You
to
can't tell them
decide
apart. Yeah.
what
The white
side
ones,
of
you can't tell them apart. Yeah.
what side of the line you stand on. Either you gonna be Ukrainian or you gonna be a white white American.
Ooh, don't say. How dare you, Peter? How dare you?
So is history repeating itself
You don't
where
know what a
a
white
frontal
citizen
rebellion
is? How dare
supposed
you?
to happen, or any one of the other rebellions against the slave culture? Like
I mean, could we do know a Haitian from
African,
Black
we know
American,
Haitian
as
from a
they want to say,
Jamaican.
or an African, or a Black American, allegedly? We supposed to, I guess. Ain't that crazy? See
And
how
if
the
you
double
don't know,
standard come in, P? See how that double standard, right? It's double standard hit different when you see it from a white perspective. Right? It's like, well, why y'all ain't reporting? I mean,
on the real, huh, bro?
where's these Ukrainians going, and who are they blending in to be just regular people? Oh, because they
Hey,
skin pale.
I'm gonna
Oh,
tell
okay,
y'all
so they
something that's
blend in with
wild as a
pale people.
motherfucker,
Oh,
bro.
okay.
I was
These
at
people
work
live in
one
better
day, bro, and
neighborhoods.
a lady.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
I was at work one day, right, and a lady came in, and she was a truck driver, and I noticed her accent, and I said, "Where are you from?" And she said, "I'm from Ukraine." I said, "Well, how long you been over here?" She was like, "Maybe a year or two." I said, "Well, how long you been driving big rig?" She was like, "Oh, I just started." I'm like, "Damn, them motherfuckers come over here, get CDLs, high paying jobs, and all kind of shit right out the gate. And nigga be here buku fucking years, all their fucking life, and can't get shit." I said, man, the disparities and
Well,
looking
I
at
don't see it
everything.
that way, but I see what you're saying though. Like, how, as the benefits, we definitely could get shit. We just,
We gotta
like I
go
said,
through all
believe in
kind of
that
hoops
same
and
rhetoric.
ladders.
Yeah, that too. But at the same time, like I'm saying, it's like, they do give them. You can see how fast they do it with them, and the process moves along more quicker, and it's not the hustle and bustle of it. You know what I mean? I think that's just the main point you was
I
trying to
knew
come
for
up with. I
fact.
think that's where you was going with that, Tigers.
Because I knew for fact a lot of them Ukrainians didn't come over here with the kind of money that was given to them. You know what I'm saying? You could look and see that from their look that they was like what we would consider the poor white trash type people. You know what I'm saying? And poor.
But that's the thing, right? Once we get into that, that's the bread and butter of this whole bullshit of racism, right? Chop Track said people don't want, they need to get it. He said, Paul, me, back up.
I got him.
Oh, he said, put him back up. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Put him back up. Oh, all right.
Niggas don't do what they supposed to do to get that shit, man. I don't want to hear that.
You know what I'm saying, Chop? Yeah. It's like Ukrainians
The
come
shit
in there
be
and show
right
you.
there
I think they show you how easy it is
to get
for
it.
them, and then they jump right in the session. But go ahead, Chop, what you about to say?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it be available for niggas to get it, but niggas will act like it's not there. Because I know people might say saying they don't want it to be there is crazy,
If
but
you ain't got it, you ain't got it. I get that. Like, you homeless and shit, you ain't got it at the time. I get that.
nah,
But anything else as an excuse, and
even if
every
you was
other thing
homeless,
as
like
an excuse.
even if you was homeless, they got shit that's tailored just to you. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get that. I'm just saying you got to go get it. But like, coming from no dollars and knowing you got to pay for a license is what I'm saying. Like if you don't have the money right then and there, you, of course, you gotta come up with the money some kind of way, But that's the only thing I'm accepting is what I'm saying. So it's like if you if you don't have really nothing from the beginning, but nah, if you got a little hustle and shit and you doing this, but you dipping and dabbling in it, bro. I ain't trying to hear the white man did me this shit. I ain't trying to hear none of that shit, man.
I definitely ain't trying to hear the white man did shit to nobody. I don't want to hear that shit at all. Because we live on the same earth as them and in the same place, So if we wanted to do something about it, it could have been
Stop
done.
going along with shit. I tell. Stop
Yeah,
going
like
along
just
with shit.
stop
If
it.
anything, huh?
Just fucking stop it.
Y'all got it. Stop going along with shit, dude.
Everybody
Y'all
won't stand
act
out
like you don't want
and
it.
stand up for shit. Bitch, stand up for common sense. Stand up for that.
You giving your shit away to everybody else. What the fuck?
Fuck.
Talking about you, and then gonna say you getting cut in line. No, you ain't getting cut in line. You giving it away.
It made you think.
You don't
My
want
thing
it.
is this,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. There you
My
go.
thing is this, right? Because Africa was the first place to be colonized, right? Well, one of the first
mother
places.
sucker. You
All
mother
right,
sucker,
so
how dare you?
So since there was one of the first places to colonize, why in the white people took over everything in the world, right? Why the fuck they picked America to live?
You mother sucker.
Why they ain't pick Africa?
We live there too, mother sucker. We just love our house in Miami.
Come to think about it, now that you mention it, why not enslave all of Africa if that's the first place you went to go get slaves?
They did.
They did. Fuck is you talking about?
No,
That's
nigga. All of the African
Every country got like Britain and all them over it like that.
Britain and China and
yeah, they own a lot of that shit over there, Peter. They do. That's why they had Negro land over there. I don't remember the Negro land shit we talked about, but it was barren for diamonds. But they have them living there and all that shit, like a big ass slave quarter shit. They was taking Americans and bringing them to Africa so they could dig for the shit they was finding in America. Yeah. We had a lot.
I got one for you too, right? Israel was supposed to be. Israel was supposed to be in Africa, right? That's what Moses was supposed to build the boat at, right?
Oh, that what they said? You gotta break that down, child. You can't just say that was a blanket statement. I thought the boat was in in Egypt or something, huh?
Yeah, Egypt and Africa, huh?
Oh, Russia. Was that Russia? I thought it was Middle Eastern. I thought Egypt, my bad, because they say that's a part of the. That's what they say. My bad, bro. I thought that was a Middle East or something.
Bro, they said that Egypt was in Africa, the boat, the flood, all that shit. You know.
Yeah.
So why they got the wood from Florida?
Damn. Cedar? It was cedar?
No, it wasn't cedar. It was fuck, I can't think of the name of the wood right now, but whatever it was, it's the wood is indigenous to Florida, to the America. Not African. I mean, that's why I see it's a bunch of trickery shit that
the same trees grow in California too, yeah.
Come on, man.
Big old bulks. 100 years old and shit.
They don't grow in fucking Africa. So the way they told the story of the Bible, in the Bible, basically like Noah was going to get the wood and chop it down and then make the boat. So it sounds like he would have had to be in
America.
Cedar wood in the Bible.
It's gopher wood. Gopher. It's gopher. That's what it is. Gopher. It's not cedar. It's gopher.
The only place I know where, in my mind, I'm gonna say this. In my mind, when I think
y'all go look it up, fellas.
I think of that as being a type of wood that's only going to be found over here.
You know, when I hear, I think it's only found.
You don't even know which wood it is. Me and Chop trying to figure out if it's gopher or if it's cedar. What you know about the wood, P-Dot, that you can help with figuring out which wood it actually is?
As far as the wood from which they said was being used to build the ark.
Noah's Ark, yeah.
I don't even remember. I quite honestly,
he said it's gopher. He must be looking it up.
I looked it up. It's gopher.
I thought it was cedar wood.
It's gopher.
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm thinking of cedarwood. My bad, y'all.
Probably because of that.
Now, I think
that
cedar
commercial.
is cedar the wood that can grow in water. Is that the one that grow in water?
I'm probably thinking
But that's
about the
what I'm saying.
tabernacle, fellas.
If
I'm
you
I'm
think
probably thinking
about
about
the
the
Okay.
trees
tabernacle,
that's
y'all.
down here in the swamps, those are the only trees I know that's growing in that fucking water.
No, I'm thinking about the tabernacle, so that's even deeper. My bad, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm probably thinking about the tabernacle.
That's what I was saying. What I was saying about the type of trees that y'all talking about, it sounds like those are the types of trees that's only found over here in the U.S. Because think about
Nigga,
our
it
swamp.
is.
Both of them,
Listen,
nigga,
specifically
boom.
along
There you
a
go. Powder
small
smoke
tree,
everywhere in this fucking house,
a
chop.
small area of
Both of
southern,
them woods
wait,
we talking about is here.
gopher wood and Torrey taxifoli is a rare conifer
Yes.
primarily found in a small area of southeastern United States, specifically along Apalachicola River in northern Florida and southwestern Georgia. So,
Holy
fuck, that's the
smokes.
wood that Noah used to build the
Excuse
ark.
me.
Fuck, and it only grows in the United States.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
See that? I know it's a lot, PP. I know it's a lot, P.
Yeah,
But
my
listen, why I
brain just
got your attention.
my brain just
No, look,
exploded
why I
just now
got your
because that made
attention.
me think.
But why I
Well,
got
fuck, when they were
I'm
talking
just
about Noah
saying,
building the
why I
but
got
look,
your
goddamn ark
but
attention.
think
and
about
flooding the
it.
world
Think
and all
about
that,
it. But
they
see,
were
now
talking
think
about
about
Okay.
what
over
I'm
here.
saying, P.
Okay.
Think about what I'm saying. Why take fucking America and not Africa? Why?
Why we going way over here? It's
Do
the
we have to
biggest
talk
one of
about the Grand
everything.
Canyon? Do we
It's
have
the
to talk
biggest.
about
It's
the
Africa
Hey, that's
do we
right.
have to talk
is the
about
biggest
the
boss that you've
coalition
seen thus far.
between the Mississippi River and what they say the Nile did? Do we have to go that far? I mean, I don't know.
Oh shit. Just the wood thing itself should raise eyebrows to people. Try to be honest. Like if y'all could trace the wood back and say, okay, was this wood, and then you say, well, this wood only grows in these areas for whatever hundreds of thousands of years. So that should raise eyebrows to people into, where you've been told where all this happened at.
Fact.
Probably wasn't where it actually happened.
Well, it definitely was.
Could these possible events actually happen here in the Americas that we've been taught from the Bible? Could these actual stories been actually here? I mean, have you been lied to before by your government
Yes.
and by your teachings and by your history?
Yes.
Have you ever been lied to by these?
The fuck?
Hell, if
I'm
you've
not
been
even
lied
gonna
to
give
by
him a
your
chance to
parents,
answer
and
that
I'm
shit.
just asking.
Yes.
Because people act like they don't, think that is,
Them bitches
a
lie all the
reasonable
time.
question.
But like
Yeah,
I said,
bro. I
that's
mean,
why I don't argue with people when I have these conversations, because I understand you got to go down that rabbit hole. I tell people that shit all the time. Nigga, I
right.
remember even wanting to be a
It's
goddamn
scary.
Egyptian. I remember that
Yeah,
shit.
it's scary. Yeah,
I got
that
too
shit's
much
scary,
hair
bro.
on my head.
To
My
me.
hair grow too fast for me to be Egyptian, dog. I'm just saying. Go too fast. I'm gonna be shaving every day.
And Egypt been conquered how many times though? Over like 7, 8
Oh
times.
god damn! How many
See, they
dynasties?
won't get into that.
They ain't gonna talk about that. They only talk about
Yeah,
the
man.
glory days and shit. But guess what? Pick up the phone and call your people in fucking Egypt. That
So you
know. Pick
said
up
the
the
Egyptians
phone,
is like the Cleveland Browns when they had Jim Brown.
man. Shit.
That nigga said the glory days.
I'm
The
just saying.
Egyptians was the
Because Pete, I
Steelers
did take my
in
damn the shit I was gonna show, so I gotta just talk my shit, I guess. But I'm gonna do that.
Oh no.
I'm just saying, because
Oh man. I'm gonna
that's
tie
just
my shit to P Dot since
think
P
about it,
Dot on the
bro.
road with bald head. I got one for you too, P. That is gonna go along with your
Just think
shit. So
about it, bro. That's
it's all
all
gonna
I'm
work
saying,
out, yeah.
bro. Of course, they
I
want
do.
you to think
I
you
did
from
tell y'all I
Africa,
passed the
bitch.
mic, right? Like
Oh,
I did.
dude.
No, I was finished. That
Yeah,
was all.
you did. You been told.
Yeah, it's solid turn. I mean, me and you had the same shit. I mean, what I'm supposed to do? I could present some, hopefully, if I get home in time. But if it get too lengthy, I'm not gonna worry about it. But we did have the same one.
Yeah,
Oh
shout out
shit,
to
my
the people
bad,
who
man.
done came through. We 2 hours in, but it's all good. Shit, let's learn about the Seminoles then, fella. Since we
Oh yeah,
freestyle,
because that was the
you want to
other
learn
one. See
about
what
the
I'm saying?
Seminoles?
This is crazy.
Do your Seminoles. Do your look.
That was the
Child, don't
second
make
one.
it out of a thing. Come on, bro.
Oh no, no,
If
no,
you
no,
want
no!
to do
It's
your
not your
Seminoles, do
fault.
the
It's not
Seminoles.
your no. It's
I
not
know it
your
ain't,
fault.
but I
I
got
can't get
2 though.
mad
That's
at
why I'm
you.
saying what I'm
Go ahead, do
saying.
your thing. No, do it. No, because what
If
I
you want,
had.
listen what I'm asking you.
No, nah,
If you
just
want to
do
do
it.
the
No,
Seminole,
I'm gonna just talk
I would.
because it's gonna be long if we do all 3. Just do it. Be good. Be good.
Cause I got 2 now. I got paperwork, and I got the Seminoles. I got some shit that happened in Nebraska, and I got the Seminoles. But he put your bullshit in there, so
Yeah.
you might have some different shit. So I could come with the
Oh,
red
it was
summer. Y'all
basically like
want to learn
Florida with
about the
that
red
shit.
summer?
Yeah, come on, let's go. Let's go to Florida.
Let's go. All right,
let's go to Florida. See,
let's go to
Florida.
Florida.
I guess we
All right.
just was talking about Florida, and that's one of the
All right.
last states that
So
still fight.
Look, and I'm glad you said that too. Look, because I got something lined up that went with P. Dot situation too, where he was relearning about some of this line about black and white and what it is and what it ain't, who you supposed to be and all this shit, right, P? Now, even Hollywood play these little games with you too, P. Even back then, to your grandmothers and shit, though.
Yeah.
You hear me, dog? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna give you a great example of that. But you gotta catch it though. You gotta catch it. It's gonna be quick, but you gotta catch it, bro. Now remember what we were just talking about. Everything we were just saying. And listen to this shit. Now this is a movie with Sammy Davis Jr. in it, right? And something gonna come out the blue for no reason, but it's gonna make sense. And you tell me what you heard.
All right.
Really? Across the river? A lawman? How very interesting.
Well, he's been following me for quite a ways, and I had to leave him in the bush a ways back over there.
You dirty, no-account, mangy little black Indian. I'm gonna knock your head off. Gentlemen, please. We abhor violence here. Is this the lawman you left in the brush? What? What lawman? Yeah, lawman! Give me that pocket.
I forgot he working tonight.
Call that boy a little Indian, huh? Call that boy a
Did he
little
look like
Indian. You dirty little Indian. Oh.
He look like
What's his name?
Oh, here they come. Now look, Pete. Now this is why though, because this would probably actually happen, bro. See, there's things that we don't understand, but I'm just I found something on it just to give you a quick synopsis, and I know we like to watch the little shorts and shit.
Monday.
So check this little short out right quick. Mute your mic, chap. Check this little short out right quick.
Ancestry. Did you know that the history of African Americans might be different from what we've been taught? Many believe that African Americans are solely descendants of African slaves. However, there's evidence suggesting that a significant portion of Black Americans may also have Native American ancestry. Some historians propose that Black Native Americans were enslaved and shipped to Europe before being misidentified as African slaves upon their return to the Americas. This hidden history, in includes black Indians who lived and thrived in America long before the transatlantic slave trade. Intermarriage between Africans and Native Americans created a rich, blended heritage that has often been overlooked. Even before Columbus, African explorers are believed to have interacted with native societies. What do you think? Could this be part of the untold history of African Americans? Share your thoughts. And if you've done...
Why, yes, I do.
So there's 2-3 things. So there's about a couple of things to learn in that one passage. And like I say, I know y'all like to watch the little shorts. So you see what I'm saying, P? There's a couple of things to learn in that. Not only are you looking at different so-called black people that has different heritages, they have different nationalities and everything, because they're also telling you that niggas was on the boats with the boys coming here too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So let's think about that when we learn our history of how much, when we learn this history of giving the white man so much fucking credit for basically doing shit.
Yeah,
but taking the reign, but taking like as far as the smarts and shit, like they reap the benefits of the habits of the power, basically. You know, everything that had to do with that, you know, reaping the benefits of the money, you know, the whatever else that come with that. And like I said, the power and shit. But like they didn't know how to get here.
They didn't know how to navigate.
They didn't look like the people, Peter. So
Not
they
at
didn't
all.
know how to talk to. Look, listen to me. They didn't know how to talk to the people because they didn't share the same skin. This is how they got into. See, they even stole that from us. This is why they started click-clacking with each other. They found out that would work for them and benefit them to be white, P. You see how it worked? They just sat back and watched and shit and just sat on your brain and sat on your... Because some things is just a job, right? But some things is just straight power and abuse. So when you got people that used to take over castles and thrones and people's lives and heritage, like, put it like this: you got the biggest house on the block. Somebody come in there and steal your shit and kill you and take your name. Nobody don't know they did it. Who gonna tell them they ain't the Johnsons?
Nobody.
I'm just asking you. Be honest and be honest with me. Don't just go along with it. Be honest.
No,
Who
nobody.
gonna tell them they the Johnsons?
Nobody can't tell them that because don't nobody know they did it. Except the people who did. They did.
And they under the house. Like the people under the stair.
Mm-hmm. Or in
what if I make you work for me? Look, what if I come in your house and take your shit and your deeds and shit and sign my name to your shit? Matter of fact, take your name and make you work for me. Under debt clause. Like what is that? Well, how would you feel then? Like it's just a lot of bullshit, P, that people believe that happened, but it's a lot of things that people don't realize what actually happened and how they did it, especially with paperwork. We was put under a lot of debt by signing a lot of bad deals with a lot of bad people who went along with a sick plan. Yeah, bro.
And it's still,
I'm telling you, man.
Respect. The bad part about it is that shit's still happening to this day.
Yeah, it's still in effect. It is. It's still in effect. We just don't see the ramifications because TV and shit is getting better and better every day.
Right.
Entertainment is really keeping us from, seeing the same MO from these same degenerates, but
Right. The easiest way to keep you distracted is entertainment. Something that makes you talk about something other than the important shit. You know, like I said, we everybody, and I get it. It's noteworthy to talk. The alphabet, right? But is there something more important that we could be talking about?
You going out, Pete? We can't hear you, but I'm gonna just move on, Pete. You could hold your thought, Pete. I'm gonna just gonna move on. Yeah, people. We
My
actually,
bad, my phone cut
chap
off.
ain't like, nah. Just hold your thought. I'm gonna move on with it. I don't want to keep the show. But at the same time, so we gonna go to Chop. You say let's go to Florida, bro. We going to Florida, Chop, bro. She going to kind of African bomb us a little bit, y'all. So y'all already know. When she say African or she do the African thing, remember, to just have awareness that a lot of these people that they claim to be Africa and all this shit, they're basing it off of the transatlantic slave trade, but as we've heard earlier, and as we talked about, there's definitely another side to this that people were actually here before any of that shit happened, and they held down the fort in this motherfucker. So she's gonna African bomb y'all a little bit, but just pay close attention to the pictures she gonna show and what they actually did versus who they actually are as what they think they is as a people. If that makes sense. Maybe go.
It's hard to imagine that Hollywood hasn't jumped all over this. You would think it would be box office gold because it's part Spartacus.
Yeah, yo, right quick. If y'all know all these, because they do like to talk about this Junior War, the Civil War all the fucking time, right, fellas? Why haven't they made any more movies about the actual wars that they done had, American Revolutionary Wars and shit like that? Do y'all think that's weird? Is my question. That's it. I just want to know if y'all think that's weird that they haven't picked up.
Yeah, that's definitely weird.
I think it's weird because they don't want you to know that so many people fought back. They want you to just think that niggas just went with the status quo. They don't want you to know that people fought back. They don't want you to think that dying for your people or for that cause is something that you should want to do.
It looks a certain way though. It has a certain look. You could die for your people and shit, but it looks a certain way. It looked like Braveheart and shit. It looked like The Last Mohican. It don't look like us, We dying with our hands up and shit. What you say, P? Do you think it's weird? You said yeah, right? Why you think it's weird?
Yeah, I think it's weird because they don't want to have to really go back now. Because think about the movie Glory and all them other movies that they made.
Get your fucking hands off me.
80s and 90s and shit. They don't want to admit the truth that these wars were not what they told us they were.
Yes, sir.
I think they don't want to admit too, P, that they lost a lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yup.
I don't think they want to admit that.
Yeah, they stacking the numbers, Peter.
Guess what? Let's just be realistic, right? Let's think about the timeline, right? Them people been at war since like the 1500s. Who you been fighting since the 1500s that you just came through and ass you just whipped?
That's a good question.
Oh, all right.
That's a good question.
Whip their ass. Fuck is you fighting for so long for?
And to this day, look, to this day,
from the 1500s to the 1800s, nigga, damn near to the 1900s, because that's when they started passing the legislation.
And they started
so since
doing
you bitches came over here,
town. Yeah.
Since they came over here, they've been fighting with them people, dog. But they're not gonna say that.
Massacres. They couldn't even call them murders and shit, like homicide, not homicide,
They
like
decategorize
mass
all
murders and
that
shit.
shit, bro.
They had to call that shit. No,
They
yeah,
got people
they
that'll
had to
tell
call
you
that shit.
that the fucking people from the
Cause niggas
movement
was fighting back.
was living foul. They'll tell you that them people was living foul because they didn't want to use traditional toilets and shit like that. They had their own way of getting rid of waste and shit. So what, they wasn't using city water and city lights and all that shit. They was using their own shit.
And you say y'all was insanitary, and for a bomb though,
They had to let it be known, nigga, because they was at war with anybody that didn't want to go with the status quo. So of course I could bomb you because we had war.
And I'm glad you said that, Chop, because now we about to set the stage for what Chop just said, P. We about to set the stage for the people right there. Bring yourself into war. You don't even know you're supposed to be in war like that, but you know it's war because now it's a mode of invaders coming. So now you on some gang shit basically. In this moment, you could die in a day, B. They red, you blue. It's on that type of time, but it's way more area and it's way more space. You still gotta go get your food, you know what I'm saying? Basically, you still gotta go raise your kids. You still gotta go play with your son, and you know all these things. You still have to live life. So let's just go there right quick, fella.
It's hard to imagine that Hollywood hasn't jumped all over this. You would think it would be box office gold because it's part Spartacus and part Braveheart and part Amistad and part Glory with a little bit of Dances with Wolves thrown in. A story decades long of oppression and freedom fighting. I don't understand why there hasn't been more attention to John Horse and the Black Seminoles, but hopefully we can correct this.
John Horse, nigga. Shout out to John Horse. The Forgotten Rebellion, fellas. Black Seminoles and the largest slave revolt in history, Peter.
They created the largest haven in the U.S. South for runaway slaves. They led the largest slave revolt in U.S. history. They secured the only emancipation of rebellious slaves prior to the U.S. Civil War, and they formed the largest mass exodus of slaves across the United States, moving from the Florida Everglades through Indian Territory,
where we going,
Oklahoma, eventually locating in Mexico, where they secured title to their own land.
Arriba.
It's overlooked not just by filmmakers, it's not well known in popular culture, and in fact it's been overlooked by historians of slavery, if you can believe it. In the early 18th century, two groups in particular fled the colonial South into Spanish Florida, into the Everglades. One of these groups were Seminoles, who were migrating from the various colonies, just trying to avoid white encroachment, basically, trying to move someplace that white colonists weren't. And the other group was runaway slaves, people who were fleeing and trying to create a free life for themselves. Both were welcome in Florida, and in fact, the Spanish crown offered runaway slaves their freedom if they would defend the land for the crown, for the Spanish. So a mixed society emerged in the Everglades of intermarriage, family intermingling between these runaway slaves and the Seminoles. And in fact, the first legally sanctioned black free town in the North American continent was in the Spanish Florida Everglades. After the American Revolution, people living in the southern states didn't really like living that close to a large armed population of former slaves.
It's ours. What you mean?
Particularly when they were in league with the local Native American nation, the large armed group of free Seminoles. And they knew that their own slaves felt free to run away and be harbored by this group. They knew that they were welcomed. And so From George Washington's administration on, there was questions of what do we do about the problem of the Florida Everglades. In 1818, this was James Monroe's administration, General Andrew Jackson actually moved into Florida, invaded it, not authorized to do so. He was actually pursuing justice against those who'd attacked Fort Scott in Georgia, but he did it anyway. He went into Florida.
Oh, he did it anyway, fellas. He went and did it anyway. Child, what you think about a nigga that don't know what the fuck going on, and nigga just being a black Indian? He come in there, he do shit anyway.
I was thinking about that shit when I was sitting outside, and I just was thinking about beefing with an Indian. Like, bitch, you not gonna hear that man come or nothing. You hear me? All you gonna hear is some shit like that. You dead. Ain't no motherfucking fussing and fighting and tussling. Them people killing you in the most quiet.
Yeah, he the president and shit. They doing big things. You know, they was serious about this shit. Huh?
That leave them fucking people alone. The fuck you better do.
What you say, P? What you say about him doing it anyway? We wasn't even sanctioned to take over nothing with them people. That was them people shit. They were chilling, relaxing, smoking a little weed, having a little fun, and cooling, and you know, playing basketball and shit. He come there feeling some type of way, Peter. What you think about him doing shit anyway? He wasn't even sanctioned to do as an officer of the law. I thought they put a protect and serve.
Well, as an officer of the law back in them days, you literally kind of like how them niggas living right now. I do what the fuck I want.
Basically.
Regardless of how anybody feel about it, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want. Nah, I agree with y'all. You better leave them fucking people alone. Cause despite knowing what I know about how the movies portrayed Indians, right? Wasn't no way you was gonna be able to sit here and fucking tell me that an Indian who uses a bow and arrow to hunt a motherfucking deer.
Well, you blanked out again, P. Hey man, Big John, man. John wasn't playing, man. Y'all saw that boy dressed in his musketeer shit, shot. You saw that nigga was fresh, huh? Nigga had the Travis Scott braids in his head. And nigga was fresh, boy. They ain't want to take that picture, boy. Whoever drew that nigga, boy, I'm telling you, them people was in jail, child.
But see, you know, another thing too that they not gonna talk about that they don't see is the Indians or you know the indigenous people that was fighting against them would have won if the niggas, you know, that was from here wasn't joining their side.
Yes. As a fact.
If they would have just stuck to with their people and not trying to join them. You know what I'm saying? Niggas was getting scared. Oh man, the people gonna do this, so we gotta do that. Like no,
they found out how to divide the people. Yeah, yes, they found out how to divide the people. How you divide over 500 come on, bro. Over 500 nations of different nationalities of people living in the same areas of the United States.
That's 500 places that the white people can't go because they don't own.
I think it was
built, came through the bit like council.
I think that the
it's called colonization.
On a promise.
It's called colonial.
Right,
you is.
I think that division got that. I think that the division happened because of a promise. That's my my thoughts on it. The division happened because I'm gonna promise you this, and I'm gonna promise you this.
P, let me ask you, P. I'm glad you said promise, P. Duke, is colon too close to colonize? What you think, brother?
Colon
Yeah, colon.
Yeah, it is.
Fuck. We got fucked, y'all. We got fucked.
It started off the same way.
They got it, y'all. They got us.
It starts off with shit.
Chop. They got us, bro. In the brain,
It
bro.
did,
They
bro.
did. They got us. They got us in the.
Got us in the motherfucking chokehold.
Damn.
Long stroking
And
the
they
nigga
call
brain,
it
bro.
colonization, y'all. Think about this shit. I just thought about it. I swear this was an epiphany just now. And they said it, they called it colonization, y'all. Think about the word. What in the fuck?
The colony.
Oh.
A collar. A collar. A knee.
No, that's an
Right.
A9. Now I'm talking about that COLLO.
Colonoscopy.
Damn, P, that nigga stupid. That shit too close to colonize to me. That's all I was saying. Colonize and colon is close as hell.
Similarities.
That's a prefix like a motherfucker, chap. That's all I'm saying. And I think that was for a fucking reason, man. That's all I'm saying. This shit is crazy, man. These people really knew what they was doing, I think. This is not nothing on a mistake because they was just out in the water, y'all. This was a plan. This was staged. This was supposed to happen. Because it was sent. That's what I believe. 82 or 92? My bad.
92.
The paper bull from the Roman Catholic.
Oh, People Bull, I think that was like 1492. No. I'm sorry. I thought the People Bull was
52. One of it was a 2. I forgot the middle.
Because I know Christopher Columbus was
Excuse me, y'all.
In 1492.
Look up Paper Bull. Don't worry about me. John 17 goals, son. Don't worry about me right now. Float right now. Because I'm glad to remind P Dot of the Seminoles and stuff. So, P, you kind of got a legit of where I'm going with this. Like, do you believe that there's actual people who lived here before the transatlantic slave trade?
Yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to draw who the people were that they saw when they got here.
That's a great point, because they did have conquistadors that came here that discovered shit and came back to the queen to tell her stories. We're about to get into that right now. Look, I'm glad you said that. Look, here we go. Jump right into it.
Not authorized to do so. He was actually pursuing justice against those who'd attacked Fort Scott in Georgia, but he did it anyway. He went into Florida and claimed it for the United States. When he seized the peninsula, he took the opportunity to execute some of the people who opposed him and also to clean out some of the areas of former slaves and Seminoles because he felt that this would make it better for annexation. The United States then soon actually bought Florida from the
corporation.
When Jackson became president, he decided to make sure that the Black Seminole communities were moved out by force. So he pursued this in his policy, his larger policy of Indian removal. This led to the Second Seminole War, which was 1835 to 1842, and became the largest and costliest of the so-called Indian Wars. Because the two communities were tied together, that is, the former slaves and the Seminoles.
Here we go.
When the Seminoles were attacked in the Seminole War, this led to an uprising of the former slaves. In April of 1836, Black Seminoles and their Indian allies moved together to create what was the largest slave rebellion in U.S. history. This wasn't just a matter of runaway slaves. More than 385 plantation slaves ran away from their masters and joined the Black Seminoles, essentially in laying waste to the Florida sugar mills, which were some of the most valuable areas, plantations in the whole continent.
Here we go, P.
One Seminole leader at the time was the leader Osceola, who is justly remembered by history. Another leader who rose up at this time was John Horse, who was ethnically a Black Seminole, and who would ultimately lead his people on a long and trying exodus for their freedom. In 1838, John Horse and the Black Seminoles agreed to stop fighting the U.S. government in exchange for moving to what was then considered to be Indian Territory, which is now today the state of
disagree.
And for legal recognition of their freedom. So despite the fact many of them were runaway slaves, they would have the opportunity to start over again as free individuals. Once they moved from the Everglades to Indian Territory, however, they found that their freedom was under attack, both by whites and by other Native Americans. In 1848, a decade after they had made the agreement with the U.S. government, the U.S. Attorney General announced that the government never had the authority, the power to recognize their freedom. And in fact, they were still, those who had been slaves, still enslaved. This was like opening season on them, basically declaring that they were there for the picking. And so they did the only thing they could.
So look, Peter, look what we learned, Pete. These motherfuckers knew these people wasn't who they was. They lied to them and told them that they was supposed to be this shit and this gonna set you free, but it actually took their birthright from them and made it even worse for them when they identified as something else. Did you hear that shit?
I heard it. And that sounds like what we about to see a lot of stupid motherfuckers out here doing now. Giving up their birthright. Giving up their fucking birthrights. Tripping. If your mama was here, your grandmama was here, your great-grandmama, and your great-great-grandmama,
you ain't African, nigga.
You ain't motherfucking African.
You ain't African nothing.
Cause, bruh,
Stop doing that.
This is the predominant reason why I keep telling my big sister and them.
You had people that fought wars for their heritage. P, you see this shit, huh? You saw Big John? Big John wasn't playing, bruh. He was about that shit, P. That nigga had a musketeer outfit on. You seen that shit?
Ready to go
That
ham.
nigga had the moccasin boots and everything on, man. Come on, P. You seen they tried to rock that shit in the 80s and the 90s again. The old mountaineer look with the little frazzle on it and shit. You get the gloves and shit. Look like you've been in a fucking mountain somewhere.
I always wanted one of them little Daniel Boone hats. I ain't gonna lie.
There you go with the raccoon head. Stop playing. Thank you,
I
P.
always
Come on,
wanted one of them
that's us,
motherfuckers.
man. That's us, P. Because that's you. That's you. I know. That's because that's you. That's your people, man.
I never understood why, but I always wanted one of them motherfuckers.
Attracted to that shit for some reason.
For some strange fucking reason. And bro, guess what? You know
it
what's
just
crazy?
feel like it's for me. It just feel like it's for me. Yes, sir. It's called ancestral DNA.
I just had this discussion with two of my coworkers the other day, and I was like, I be telling the dudes, bro. Some of the stuff I be saying to y'all as my partners, I really just be trying to enjoy my day. So I might come up with some of the most whimsical, funny shit to say that'll just make you smile. Cause that helps me pass the time. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like being quiet for fucking nothing when I'm at work. I gotta talk about something, cause if my mind just keeps going where it's going, shit, I'm gonna be bored. Cause I gotta get my thoughts out. So I'll sit there and be cracking jokes with the fellas all day. And we was sitting there talking about cleansing the land. Them niggas did not understand what the fuck I was talking about until I said I burnt up my whole backyard. I took all the twigs and leaves and trash, paper, whatever, and burnt that shit down to the dirt until the ground was smoking. It was like, oh, ain't that the shit them Indians be doing? I said, it's called land cleansing. They said, man, get the fuck out of here. You ain't do that shit. I said, boy, I had my whole neighborhood full of fucking smoke. And me
Yeah,
and
if you
you
wasn't in the city, it draws animals and shit too, because then the grass come up and they eat the grass. That was the
right.
whole purpose of that too.
You have a
Yeah.
way to for your meat, for your fur
Buffaloes,
yeah.
buffaloes and bisons are some big ass animals, Pete. They're some big fucking animals, though.
You
Who
cut
gonna be
that,
chasing? Look, listen
you
to me. If they just had arrows and shit, right? Who the fuck gonna be chasing behind buffaloes and shit and go and find them in the woods and shit? See,
no, you gotta do what
this
you
is
gotta
why
do.
no, this is
Draw them
why
to
we're
you.
different. This is why we can't think like animals. You feel me? Because history tells us that we're smarter because of the brain. We learned how to do these things to get what we want, which makes us the alpha in this so-called triangle of this bullshit that they be talking about. You see what I'm saying? So why tell me? So why? Yeah. So why tell me that I should think animalistic, right? When
or that I do.
I've learned through my own history or through history that the creation of guns,
Gunpowder.
revolutionized. Like, are you kidding me? Who comes up with this shit? So, just looking at it from that perspective is crazy when people try to say who you're not when you try to find out who you actually are. It's weird, bro.
But it's also, and you know what? If people do that, right, that means they really don't know who they are, right?
Or they racist.
Or they racist. That is true. But I'm speaking as far as people of color. For them to say what they be saying, honestly lets me know that you really don't have even if you're not as well versed in certain things, you should know that the things that you do as a person of color are embedded in your DNA for you to do because of the people that came before.
Yeah, you do what your grandma do. You do what your daddy do. You understand what your auntie doing, and why she cool with you. These things resonate and they don't leave the brain. They believe these much energy believers, energy transfers, right? So why wouldn't it make sense in this situation as well? So it always shows itself approved. I mean, look at the braids, look at the hairstyles. They never went nowhere. It was even said that braids was used as maps. I don't know how true that actually is, but it makes sense for certain things when you call them cornrows, though, because cornrows is the exact pattern of the braids when you look at how they actually did the hair. So yeah, man. Even in that 3-part pattern, it makes it look like a cornfield. So definitely. So jump to the fourth. Here we go.
The U.S. Attorney General announced that the government never had the authority, the power to recognize their freedom. And in fact, they were still, those who had been slaves, still enslaved. This was like opening season on them, basically declaring that they were there for the picking. And so they did the only thing they could do. They fled once again. Without security in Indian Territory, Horse and his Seminole ally Coacuchi promptly went to Mexico, where slavery was already illegal and had been for a couple of decades. There, Horse became famous as a general in the Mexican army, and his people found a way to make a life. Once they relocated to Mexico, things changed. When slave catchers from the Republic of Texas went over the border to try to find the runaway slaves, now free men, they met resistance not only from the Black Seminoles, but also from the Mexicans and the Mexican army itself. Eventually, the Black Seminoles, led by Horse, gained legally recognized Mexican land, nacimiento. Why isn't this recognized today? Well, for one thing, historians tend to be historians of Native American history or historians of slavery, but there's not many that move among these subjects, and it's a bit confusing because you have both the issue of runaway slaves and the issue of Native Americans kind of blended together, so it seems to fall through the cracks. Tradition is that Nat Turner's rebellion is the big turning point in the history of slavery and slave revolt, but that happened before the rebellion of the Black Seminoles, so it doesn't really fit the traditional trajectory. And perhaps most importantly, it really represents a blemish on U.S. history, not only because of the poor treatment of Native America as represented by the Seminole War, not only the poor treatment of African Americans through the device of slavery, but also because this group really did manage to negotiate a separate peace with the U.S. government, and 10 years later the government turned their backs on them. So it's, in multiple ways, a difficult story for people of the United States to tell. But it's worth remembering that a community of freedom fighters trekked from Florida to Oklahoma to Mexico and found, ultimately, peace and freedom and prosperity in lives that they could direct as their own. I recommend highly the website johnhorse.com for more information.
John Horse.
Yeah, people, if y'all want to learn, yeah, get your shit up. That if you want to fuck with it, dog. You know, get a little more, tied into it. But John Horse definitely did way more than that, people. If y'all want to go check out the website, he was definitely a fighter, and he definitely used to slam them motherfuckers. They used to have these little setup spots, P, where they used to jump out on trees and shit on them motherfuckers. In the swamps, because Florida got a lot of swamps and shit. Yeah. They used to wait for them and shit like that, and used to come through with certain shit because at that time, the military from different sections, like different fractions, Britain, the French, they used to just line up in this little line, and they had their little fucking muskets and shit. They ain't had all that extra shit, so they only had like one shot until you gotta, you know what I'm saying? One shot.
You got one
you got
shot.
the
You
little
got to
fork on
reload
the
that
end of that
motherfucker.
motherfucker. Man, nigga jumping out trees on the ass, big ass buff niggas from my height to your height and chop height. Coming from behind them bitches, body slamming their goof ass like WWE. All in the swamp, nigga. Frogs and nigga then put frog
Swinging on
poison
a
on
vine.
dogs, hitting their ass, just shit hitting them from 40 yards. No, I'm talking about sniper time, man. On their ass, man. It was called guerrilla warfare. That's why they don't call it guerrilla with no O, with the U, nigga. I'm talking about on the ass, and he led a lot of those platoons when it came down to getting busy with them motherfuckers, bro. And yeah, we gonna finish this off though. So, yo, just know that this shit still exists. It's still going on. You know what I'm saying? And people still trying to fight for their nationality, fellas. There's this organization out here. I just want to put them out there on my last little part for that. But yeah, for the I don't know if you're doing something Sunday, P, or if you want to do a part 2 Sunday. I have another one lined up.
Yeah, I could definitely probably bring one Sunday too.
Yeah, we definitely can. We definitely can. That'll give Shot the opportunity to do his thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So y'all check these people out, and it's gonna resonate with everything we talking about. You can end it off.
A call to action and defend American freedmen history. Notice for PBS breaching Reconstruction duties. Thread call to action for American freedmen. Get ready to submit a complaint with attached info. Submit here, help.pbs.org/support/ticket. Defend freedmen history. Call out PBS for breaching Reconstruction duties. PBS is promoting a misleading narrative that undermines the distinct history of American freedmen by conflating our legacy with that of black immigrants, particularly during the Great Migration. This not only erases the unique contributions of freedmen but also breaches the very duties set forth under Reconstruction-era laws, which were intended to protect and uplift the descendants of those formerly enslaved in the United States.
So what do y'all feel about them mixing us with black immigrants? Has this become a problem, or is this okay for both sides?
Yeah. Chop,
Wait, what happened? What the question was? My bad, Paul.
No, somebody was playing a video with PBS on it, talking about filing a complaint.
PBS. Yeah, they're filing a complaint on PBS for misinterpreting the actual history of black people, and these people that's saying that their heritage is basically under fire or acting like their heritage doesn't even exist by how PBS is telling these same narratives, like Chop, like we've been talking about, the transatlantic slave trade and the Africa situation. These people are fighting against that, saying that, hey, we're here too, where this happened too over here with us. Like, yeah, we didn't come from that. What are you talking about? Like, there's more things that happened, and they're definitely calling for order for that, basically, and holding PBS under the fire, because PBS is one of those public service broadcasts that brings that type of information to people. They know better than the Learning Channel, or I'm pretty sure everybody remember PBS. This is one of those.
Yeah.
They teach your kids and shit too. They
right.
do a lot of children stuff and shit like that. So basically, these people are holding them under fire. So my thing was they're blending history with black immigrants, and these people are having a problem with that. And my question was, how do y'all feel about them mixing the history with black immigrants? Is it a good thing, or is it a bad thing, or how y'all feel about that?
It's all fucked up because they're still not telling the real story. And that's the thing. Like, we debunked a lot of shit that we've been told for years tonight. Just thinking about it logically. You know what I'm saying? I know if it was me, I would try to conquer the place and live in the best place. If I'm conquering something, I want to live in the best place. I don't want to let nobody else live there. So if I can do it, I would definitely pick the best spot. Like, I know it's a stupid movie to think about, but that's like, what's the name of this shit?
Preservation of motherfucker, Chop. Be honest, though. Preservation of motherfucker. When you think about family and all that
Emperor's
shit.
New Groove, or whatever. The Emperor was trying to build the groove, and he wanted the best fucking spot. And it was a little
Shout out to my
people
niggas, they got kids.
That fucking Here's a little spot where, basically people live. So he was going to have to kick a whole fucking tribe out just so he could build his pool. And you think he gave a fuck? That nigga was going to do that shit. Because that's where it was the best spot, like he said. Or whatever.
Singing
Then he
and
wound
dancing and
up.
everything,
This
aren't
is a
y'all?
good spot.
Making that bit.
Oh, hell yeah. Boy, that shit crazy.
See?
But like
Evil
I say,
with a
ain't
smile,
nobody
Peter.
about to sit up there and pick a spot that ain't the best spot. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Even if
just
somebody
be
lived there
real.
already, you
Yeah,
just gonna bully that shit, huh?
fucking
Ooh,
right.
that's how it go.
That's
See?
what happened.
It's so barbaric, isn't it? So barbaric. What you say, P? What you think about mixing the black and the immigrants? Because we did get hip hop out of this. So what do you
Yes, we
think
did. Yes, we did.
about the mix? And is it a good thing, or should we not worry about it, or they tripping, or what you think about it?
I'm gonna say it's a double-edged sword at this point with that. Like, okay, you say you bringing us information, cool. Downside, you're not bringing us all of the information. You're only bringing us enough information to keep us intrigued to say that this is what we've discovered and this and this and this and this. However, you're not talking about the actual things that went on while said discovery was happening, right? Which means you're intentionally leaving out information about how this came to be that the Native Americans or the Black Native Americans or the African Indian
Ain't
was,
on the nut. That's the
like
crazy part.
they're not giving us all of the information. Yeah, it's okay that you want to give us some information. Okay, yeah, I get that. That's the good part. You want to give information. However, you're also sitting on the information that would definitely put your people in a bad
For
light.
instance, give me an example.
What's that guy name? He be doing them goddamn shows. Talking about he be on there and he's doing the ancestry thing, but he's using DNA to tell these so-called celebrities that, oh yeah, you got this amount of black in your family, and this is what we found related to the black side of your family, or this person here
Africa,
was
not black. Africa. He was tracing them back to Africa.
true. So yet CBS is letting him host this show, knowing that he also has a video which is still probably circulating around on YouTube saying when he talked to the person who created the process of testing DNA that they found that there's no actual freaking way that you can tell from my DNA that I came from Africa. Like, oh yeah, that's not true. You ain't from Africa.
0.01%.
How could So when we think about stuff like that, not to
I don't
mention
even
the
think
stuff.
I don't think you the father if that was a test for your baby, right? You wouldn't even be the father, correct?
Correct.
I'm just asking because I don't know how that works. If you take a DNA test, fellas, y'all can tell me if I'm right or wrong. If
The
you
DNA test-
0.01%, are you the father?
No. It has to be 99.9. Right? Meaning you took a sample of my DNA and the top DNA in question right here, right now, not 30,000 years down the
Should
line.
work the same way. Yeah, I thought it should work the same way. That's just me thinking about it. I thought it should work the same way.
Well,
It is
remember
DNA.
when we did talk about this, and I believe you and Chop both was in agreement that you got to dig up so many goddamn bones for bone marrow to be able to test that bone marrow's DNA to be able to see that this is definitely where you come from. And you can't because the bones have disintegrated, the marrow has been eaten by animals, and there's no earthly freaking way you're gonna be able to tell me that these bones that you're finding, that you're so-called testing, and using my DNA now to say that this is where I come from based on these bones that you found over here in the country that I don't even know that they came from.
Yeah, bro. But they serious about it, P. They serious about it, bro.
Man, you got to watch what you say when you say it. Because this is what I'm saying. Because you don't know who speaks Spanish. Yo soy cubano, ¿me entiendes? Pero yo soy cubano. Y cuando habla la gente negra, tú hablando de mí también.
I was just saying.
Okay, but I'm just saying, you need to watch what you say.
I was just saying.
Okay, I'm just letting you know though. When you talk about people, especially black people, man, watch what you're saying. I ain't recording you. I'm recording myself. I'm recording you now. I'm recording you now. So, you know what, that's what I'm saying. They be talking that shit Spanish, thinking people don't understand their ass. Yo soy cubano. Cuando hablan la mierda de negros, tú hablan de mí también. So when you talk about black folks in Spanish, a bunch of them understand what the fuck you're saying. No, y'all talking that nigga shit Spanish. Yo soy cubano, yo entiendo. Cuando habla esa mierda de negro.
My screen cut off again. All that to say this though, when they have all these different shows where they talk about World War One, World War Two, Vietnam, and all that stuff, they're not talking about the stuff that led to these said confrontations. They're not talking about what the U.S. did that led to these confrontations. You see what I'm saying? So if we know from the video that you just played about history that they lied, they broke the peace treaty. You drafted a peace treaty. The Native Americans say, okay, it's cool, we gonna stop fighting with you bitches because y'all tired of losing people and I'm tired of losing people. We just want this as our land. Since you want all the rest of this over here, we want this over here, and this is where we gonna stay, and you stay where the fuck you stay at. And then you turn around and say, you know what, fuck that. He ain't no power to tell you nothing like that. How the fuck the U.S. Treasurer is gonna say to you that the president of so-called corporation ain't had no right to tell you what he told you and sign an agreement with you about what y'all signed an agreement about, and you only the treasurer. You ain't the head of it.
Sounds familiar, like something we just talked about? The police and the nigga who do the autopsy.
Yep.
I'm done, P. That's all I have for tonight.
So, folks, all in all, man, you know, we're not saying that a revolution or a revolt is coming. We just want everybody to be aware of the types of things that lead to revolutions, right? And revolts. Because at the end of the day, we don't know when it's gonna happen, but it's coming. You know, I'm hearing a lot of chatter on the internet about people saying we need to wake up, this, that, and the other. Well, what happens when we wake up? What are we supposed to do at this point? Because you know, with the power of the military at its back, our government that has been busted in many lives, as well as, according to the World Tribunal, been found guilty of crimes against humanity against people of color, i.e., black people in this country. Still waiting to see what the outcome of that shit gonna be, right? For decades. Just open up your mind, start doing a little historical research and see what's out there. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Some of these events that's happened in this history, and I didn't know about it. And it just popped up on my mind and thought about Revolts. And I decided to look it up. So that's just one thing, man. I just want to say to
What the fuck happened to Grace, man? Grace ain't been on here since we talked about our police officer fighting.
Oh, okay.
I just thought a random thought.
What of the new people, we got
Shout out to Grace, bro. We fuck with you.
We gotta definitely start holding these coroners or medical examiners accountable for the flagrant fact they're committing, which they should be charged too. If you gonna charge the police, charge them motherfuckers too, cause they trying to cover up for the damn police. Let that be something that start happening. I guarantee you won't have them. Or he died of a heart attack or dehydration issues no more. They're gonna start actually saying, "Oh well, look, he got shot 37 times by 3 different cops. Here's all the bullets from the gun that went into his body." Like we gotta start holding people accountable. With the desegregation thing, if you gonna, like he said, if you're gonna segregate all the way, and since you won't form your own, you gotta have your own money to form your own, right? Cause that's like saying I want to start a business. I can't just go start a business with somebody else's money and then keep all the money I make without giving them something back, right?
What is absurd?
You finna pee?
Jilly, get this mark off, Steve. This shit been fucking up all night.
My bad, man. I gotta fix my doggone phone where my screen stop cutting off because it cuts my mic out. We gotta, if we're gonna segregate, if we're gonna go back to being separate again, let it be done on the right path. Like,
That's
ain't no
crazy work.
Don't let it keep being a back and forth. If you want your own, how St. George or what they St. George.
Why we letting people go back and forth?
That's essentially what. Look at it like this here. What they did was they formed their own little city.
You don't go down Claiborne. Please don't go down Claiborne. I'm just asking
Wrap it up,
a rhetorical question.
I'm going to get the button for your ass from the Chappelle shit. I'm going to get it for the
I'm being rhetorical, P. I'm just saying, like, why are we entertaining that if we know we shouldn't have went along with it in the first place, right? That's all. It was a rhetorical question because now we gonna tell them, oh well, if you're gonna segregate, no, fuck that. I want to stay in your neighborhood, bitch. I should be able to stay in your neighborhood. Remember integration? We still under that, right? You don't let them change when they want to change and then go along with it. Stop going along with their change and let them stand on their change. Maybe they wouldn't want change. Soon as y'all see results, niggas ready to run.
True that.
Go live in their neighborhood. They want to go to your school, go live in their neighborhood. And they can't tell you shit. They gotta go out them same laws that make it set in them shake shops and got shakes sprayed in their face and shit. Remember? Civil rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
See? Don't forget what you was riding for. If that's what you want. This is the problem with our people too. See? White folks falling into the same shit we falling into.
I don't think that people understand you don't understand it. Like I see, that's just like what the white people
for the wrong reason, child.
That Garrett Chambers was talking about. I get it. That's y'all upset. That they want their own. They want to separate from the black people. I guess that's gonna make their numbers go up or something. But just leave, bitch. Fuck
you. Stop going along with shit. Stop going along with shit. Stop acting like you rock with something you know you don't. We always looking for the benefit of other people, bruh. Like y'all say that earlier. And then when these people stab us in the back, we looking for retribution. It's not gonna happen.
They ain't gonna give you shit. They wouldn't.
They
That
don't want
wasn't
to even
part
tell
of
you
their plan.
sorry. Top, they don't even want to thank you. Thank you, brother. They don't even want to tell you sorry. They don't think you deserve a sorry. You ask. I mean, you welcome me in, right? See? And that's the truth. Our people don't want to address.
Admit to. Right.
Yeah. Be honest. That's why I call integration a double-edged sword. When they set all that shit up, bruh, it's smoking fucking mirrors, bruh. It's bigger plans that be going on, and we always the ones getting played, bruh. Y'all should be tired.
That's wait. Who had one more in other news? Chop. What was your in other news? You know what? I can't remember. I passed the torch on that one, y'all. Anybody got any final thoughts on the night?
Yeah. I just wanted to shout out to everybody who came through in the building. We had some great topics. You know what I'm saying? I think the more we learn from the research that we do individually, it'll come together, a little better for understanding when, we have this dialogue with each other. But I appreciate both of y'all opinions on all this shit for real. The jailbreak thing, y'all already know, is a lot more behind that. We definitely got to be more vigilant with that. The situation with Maryland, that's just y'all. That's just me keeping y'all up with Blunt Talk NOLA, and what we've been trying to show y'all with these people. There's something behind this, and the investigations has to start somewhere. I'm just waiting on that. Damn, P, I forgot what you
the segregation.
Oh, your boy with the well, I talked on that, so I ain't gotta rehash on that. Y'all know how I feel about that. But yeah, shout out to the people. Y'all appreciate y'all. Final thought.
I just want people to understand that every day that you basically was taught, you have to unlearn to understand where niggas be coming from. Like if you don't unlearn that, you're not gonna never get the perspective that a nigga coming from, because you still believe the other shit that happened. Like, and I get to that it be like a shock of, I couldn't have been that stupid, or why I ain't see this shit earlier. They designed it for you to learn it late. So don't beat yourself up about it. Just know better now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just think about it. We benefit nothing. Even, let's see, from segregation, right? Do your children benefit from having white friends?
No.
Do your children benefit from having Mexican friends? I mean,
nope. In a sense they do, and in a sense they don't. Y'all believe?
How? Because think about it. If the Mexicans had their own community, they stayed in their community. Now you ain't even got to speak that fucking language unless y'all at war. Unless y'all at war.
Not necessarily though, because if you at peace, just put it like this here: if you are a person that is open to meeting new people, and you tell them, hey, if you having trouble learning how we talk over here, I would like to teach you how we talk, how we operate, how we move, da 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 da. Just like I want you to teach me about your culture. It's like you make it a cultural exchange, right, between you and that particular person. So that is of some benefit to you. You may not reap 100% of the benefit, just like they're not going to reap 100% of the benefit. But you are benefiting in some way because you are going to learn a little something from them. And that is only based on the amount of time y'all have to devote to learning from each other. Now, if you ain't got a whole lot of time to learn from each other, whenever y'all do meet and y'all talking and shit like, I don't understand what they mean, then you have to help them by breaking it down for them. Just like you, they say something, you be like, hey, what that mean? And they teach you what that means. You feel what I'm saying? Now, as far as having their own community, well, that's just how they operate. Now, we could try that, but does that really work for us? No, because motherfucker, in our community always feel like we gotta like what?
And none of that. I ain't catching none of that, Pete. You scrambling eggs, boy. You making a breakfast.
No, I was saying, why can't that 4 blocks of people of color work in unison, just like them same 4 blocks of people of
And
black
I get that.
black
I get that. I get that narrative. I get that narrative. But
It is.
why think that they can? Why even think they should have to work together? Because like I say, if you take the black off it, you're not gonna say, "Oh, them people need to work together," right?
No,
If
you're
there
not.
was
Because
a
we all
if
the
there was
same
a
shit.
that's what I'm saying. But if you from a different tribe, it's gonna be like, oh no, I can't give resources to this tribe over my own tribe.
It's
You're not gonna do
separation. It
that.
starts separation. If you think about it, Pete, it starts separation once you realize there is a difference, whatever that is. It don't necessarily have to be black or white or
Hispanic.
Mexican. Look, because remember, they just told you the Black Seminoles, they found refuge in Mexico.
With
right?
the Mexicans, right? With the Spaniards.
Okay. So put that in the back of your head when you're thinking about what he's trying to tell you when it comes to that, right? It's about your nationality once a certain time has passed, because remember, people with pale skin use the same advantage. It was more of an advantage. It was more of an advantage for them because they just got here. It's like taking from your father, or taking from the house, basically.
Right.
You got a house that you grew up in. You took everything out that house and you built your own house and put everything that you was raised up with and put it in your house. Like I gave you the other situation is the Johnsons on the Hill thing. Is that type of process that actually happened. You know what I'm saying? That shit really happened. Be like, they really took people's
name
identity, dog. Yeah. And nigga name was Andrew Jackson. And his whole theme was to do what? He was supposed to leave them people alone, but he felt some type of way about that shit where he still went against his own shit. I'm gonna say his own government that he's supposed to be. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of fuck shit that actually happened that people don't want to admit to them or say to them. I agree with both of y'all on that one. That's great points, fellas. Peter, you about to close up shop or what, bro? I done already got my motherfucking set, bro. I already got my shit. About to sign out and ring out and get my motherfucking session right. Bought me a grinder and everything. great conversation in the smoke shop.
You getting on the game?
All the people that
Shit,
came
I'm
in
feeling
tonight.
good.
Everybody that's gonna jump in on the rebroadcast, I
I'm about to
appreciate y'all. Don't forget to like,
to the store right
subscribe,
quick, get some
share,
bread. Then
tell
I'm
somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody.
Yes, sir.
Keep the party going. DD504, I'm glad you was able to be in the building and hang with us tonight.
DD,
To all
appreciate
our
you,
other
baby.
subscribers, all our other listeners out there, I appreciate y'all, and I want y'all to have a good night. Join us for our Sunday convo. This might be a part 2. I'll let my fellas know tomorrow.
I thought you already stamped that, P. I thought
I
we stamped that
I
already.
did, cause Chop
he can't
Chop
remember what
gotta
he
have his
talking about.
presentation.
He don't remember.
Yeah, my mind in a whole nother zone right
It's
now.
okay.
But
I'm trying to help, but
I appreciate it. To all our listeners out there in the broadcast world, man, thank y'all for y'all support. We'll be back for Sunday Convo.
part 2.
Don't forget, once again, like, subscribe, share, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. I am your host, P. Dot on the spot.
Silent Child 17.
Chop Tracks in the building.
And we are Blunt Talk Nola.
Revolution.
And we
Yes, sir.
are out of here.
We out this motherfucker. Revolution will not be televised.
But it will be broadcast.
Revolution. Peace, y'all.
Okay. Come on, industry.